Yeah, we are.
Cool. What's up, everybody? I am SkunkDave.
And I am wtfRobbi.
wtfRobbi?
wtfRobbi.
We're going with that. Okay.
Robbi. Or just Robbi.
Yeah, well, we're just going to call each other by first names because we just know each other.
Exactly.
This is Not a Burger TV. I texted Robbie a couple weeks ago. I said, hey, you want to do a podcast? And I was like, we're going to have balloon animals and we're going to have a bounce house and it's going to be awesome. We're going to do so much stuff. And he was like,
right. I have nothing better to do with my free time after work, after training and everything. You know, why the hell not?
Mostly it was like, calm down, reined it in.
Yeah,
we're just gonna start
exactly
DIY.
Exactly. So Dave has. I love your creative mind because it's always like you think of the end game. You want to do A through X, And I guess it's just say A through Z.
A through Z.
And then you just like, we're going to do it. We're going to make it happen. It's going to start tomorrow. We're going to start right now.
I got so many ideas.
Exactly.
Well, I'm more of like a dreamer than a doer. I'm like, what's the first step? I don't know.
You always think of the end.
Yeah.
And exactly. then you're like, oh shit.
Well, that's why I thought of you first. I didn't ask anybody before you. I was like, Robbie is, he's into this stuff. He gets things done. When he wants something in life, he goes for it. And I was like, let me just mooch off of his motivation. And maybe
Let me mooch off of his motivation.
Maybe I'll just get a little bit of ambition for myself eventually. Yeah. But I spend so much time building mushroom caves in Minecraft or whatever dumb thing I'm into at the time. And I was like, I could build things in the real world too.
Exactly. A few months ago it was PUBG. Then
just whatever. And that
that
was it. PUBG. I actually stopped playing PUBG because I didn't feel there was enough like reward, and I started to realize like I'm literally looking for my life satisfaction in fake worlds. I was like, I need to do something in the real world.
Manufacture in the real
exactly.
world. Get something into fruition and just like.
Well, I've always been a creative person, and I like if I'm not creating, whether it's music or whatever dumb thing.
I guess since this is the first episode, I was like, how you talk about creative and stuff like that. Let's talk about that. How did we meet? What point in life were we at when I met you?
Well, we were both hooligans.
We were both unemployed.
I think at one point we were both unemployed.
You were still employed, and then you became unemployed.
Yeah. Well, basically, best time of my life. Playing music. Not working, playing Call of Duty until the sun came up every single night.
That was Modern Warfare 2 days.
We actually met as many people on Call of Duty as we did playing music.
Yeah.
And still to this day, talk to those people. Although when you're a hermit, your friendships consist of likes on Facebook and sharing memes.
Right.
So that's another reason to get out of the house and do something with my time. Right, but I've always listened to talk radio, since I was a kid. And I've actually been on a couple of the local like big podcasts, whatever, as just through the band. So I was like, yeah, let's just start small, do our thing, and see where it goes.
Yeah, and like you said, playing Call of Duty. I remember those days. It was, oh man, playing until literally the sun rises.
Yeah,
like we would sleep in until about noon, 2 p.m.
I don't remember eating at all.
If there wasn't a show, if you guys weren't playing a show that night, we would play Call of Duty until about 7 in the morning. Rinse and repeat.
And half the guys in the band met their wives through the band, but Johnny met his girlfriend through me, through Call of Duty. Because Kim, I met on Call of Duty.
Oh, that's right. I was like, who are you talking about? But that's right, Kim.
It was funny because I was like, making fun of her because she was on the other team and she had the heart monitor, the baby monitor. So we were like, oh, that's stupid. Who plays with that? You suck. And then she said something about living in Orlando. And then I was like 180. I was like, you live in Orlando? Like, I live in Orlando. Yeah. So all of a sudden it went from being like, you're on the other team, I hate you, to like, hey, let's be friends.
I completely forgot about that's how they met. Well, that's how we all met her.
Well, yeah, Johnny was always the butterfly, but I succeeded in this regard. I wasn't like trying to fish for ladies or anything, but she turned out to be a very cool, very attractive young lady, and so we're still in touch. But anyways, yeah, podcasts.
Yeah, so yeah, that's that, and then obviously I do the Twitch thing on my free time, so I play bass guitar, gaming, stuff every once in a while on stream. So Dave came to me and was saying, I want to do this podcast talk show. So I said, all right, well, we have a good platform on Twitch that we could interact with people. Don't want to just be I was going to say one-sided, but I guess two-sided, you and me going back and forth, could also get people's interactions in the Twitch chat, in whatever, obviously this is the early stages, so we can only go from here.
Well, that's why we went episode 0, because we knew there was going to be some weirdness. We knew that we needed logos and intros, and all this stuff is going to be kind of really gross at first, but, it'll get somewhere.
It'll just get grosser as we go along. It'll get grosser
eventually. And, it's like if you're going to spend – I'm pretty new to Twitch, honestly, brand new. I watch VODs, when they get to other platforms or whatever on my second monitor while I'm playing. But it's like, yeah, if you're going to be sitting in front of your computer for 6 hours a day, then you might as well.
Right.
And that for me is the thing, like at every job I've ever had, I always felt like I was there to socialize. It's like I like being in a band. I like playing music, but I really like socializing. I like, wherever I'm at this certain time, fixing cars, but I really like socializing. So I'm like, why don't I just do the socializing? Like,
yeah.
And if you do something you love, it's like, who cares if it's DIY? Who cares if it's, I get an excuse to come over. I get an excuse to hang out with you. We get to talk about stuff.
All right, Kate. Hi, Kate.
Who's Kate?
What did you say? Who's Kate?
I don't know anybody. I'm brand new.
Kate, she's the one behind the soundboard.
I'm sorry. I just
my girlfriend.
I just call her Pirate.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, and we
Kate has left the chat.
And then we have Kate Deishes. She is back there. We're eventually going to hopefully include her if she wants to still stick around and help out. She does her own streaming thing, so we'll try to get some use out of her here and there.
I don't know. I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, that didn't sound right.
I won't be getting the same use out of her.
That doesn't sound right. But anyway.
But yeah. Tell about her eyeball here. What's with her eyeball?
Yeah,
it'd be fucked up if I was like, "What's with her eyeball?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, she has this horrible birth defect or something." It's like, oh god, I asked all the wrong questions.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, no, it's just we wanted to eventually kind of like other podcast talk shows that I've seen, watched, or heard. They have other people, people behind the soundboard. They also get into it. Eventually get a camera back there. But Kate, unfortunately, got a wicked eye infection that she has a pirate patch right now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, she'll be just in the chat for today.
You know what I really like is in podcasts where they're like, I think a certain thing goes a certain way, and you think it goes another way. And we're like, look it up. Like, we need to settle this argument.
Exactly.
You need to pick a side right now.
Exactly. Which hopefully Kate will be able to prove me right all the time, but anyway.
The other thing is like, we'll just add it in post. It's like, something broke, or we need a graphic of a swan here. Just we'll add it in post for the video.
Yeah, but obviously right now there's not. There's nothing in post. Yeah.
But that's what she's there for. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. If we need to throw stuff on thing or anything, but also she's there to make sure everything goes right, and then mute me when I go too crazy, right?
Or when I redline the mic or sniffle into the mic.
But yeah, so do you want to talk about what the whole 10-year plan is for this?
I mean,
since you already came up with that.
We have a billion ideas like everybody does, and they're like, oh, what's your brand? And you're like, I don't know. It's a show about nothing. It's no. Everybody wishes they were Seinfeld, but Not a Burger is an idea that I had. I think Nothing Burger is like one of my favorite kind of current words being thrown around on the internet.
Which I had never heard about it until he told me about it. I was like, that's actually pretty brilliant.
It started as a political thing. It was a Republican politician who was like, don't say that. This is just a nothing burger. It's like if you're bringing nothing to an argument, if you're bringing nothing to a conversation, it's a nothing burger. It feels good. You think you won the argument. You might convince other people you won the argument, but you didn't win the argument.
Right.
So we are the beefy boys in the middle of the burger. We're bringing the content, and the nada is kind of a nod to our first of all, you can't just like hope that no one will ever use a phrase that's a common phrase, because you can't copyright it,
right?
But second of all, nada is is a little bit of Spanish flavor, get some ideas flowing for our merch eventually.
That tan doesn't come natural.
We're both a little tan. My last name's Spanish, and I started out feeling very white and having no traditions and no holidays that were anywhere Latin. And eventually, as I learned more Spanish, I started to feel very comfortable in Spanish grocery stores, or when people were speaking Spanish around me, I didn't have that like knee-jerk reaction where you're like, oh, what if they're talking about me? I feel uncomfortable. But so I've always felt, a quarter Spanish because you have two parents and they have two parents, and that gives you 4 quarters. And then I did the 23andMe DNA test, and they were like, you are 5% Spanish.
So now the government has your DNA on record.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. If they want to get you, they have plenty of ways to get you other than your DNA. I've heard that argument as well. It's like, oh, they're just going to put your DNA at a crime scene and get rid of you. Well,
it's like really that the whole like Big Brother's watching, Big Brother's listening, all thing. And it's like I just had this conversation at work, and somebody was talking about the Alexa. And
it's scary.
And like, oh well, you everybody has this Alexa, like people have this Alexa, and now they're getting all your data. I have one Alexa that actually is not even hooked up anymore. It was in the room that Kate streams in, but I only used it to play music while I was soldering. Right. So I told him, it's like, at most it's like, hey Alexa, play Backstreet Boys.
So you just get ads for like weird teen pop.
And then all of a sudden, if they were actually listening, all they hear is, fuck, I just burnt myself again. That's all they probably got.
Okay. So I know there's confirmation bias when you like think that something weird happened and you were looking for something weird to happen, but I've had some really weird interactions with phones. Like I said something that I would never say, that I'm not interested in, that isn't in my search parameters, is not something that anyone would ever associate with me. It was like
puppy diapers,
a birdhouse, or I think it was something cat related. No, it was a workbench, and then an ad for a workbench came on my Facebook, and my phone was just in my pocket. I never Googled it and never nothing, and I was like, that was weird. So there's been a couple times where I was pretty sure it was recording voice without me wanting to, but just in the past couple of days, I had a situation where I'm almost the most likely explanation that I can come up with is it actually was recording video because I was in a grocery store and I picked up 2 particular products. I never talked about them. Again, not something I would normally search for, I'm not even a conspiracy guy, not something I would normally search for, not something that would ever be associated with me. It was a very specific alcoholic beverage and a very specific chicken, neither of which I ever buy or search for, and an ad for both of them came on after I held them in a grocery store.
But did you have your
I did have my phone out.
I was gonna say, did you have your phone like this while you're like trying to hold I
did. I had my phone out. I usually like read books or whatever.
Yeah. That's another story.
What?
You and your mobile devices.
Yeah. So
we used to live together for about a good 2 years, something like that, and Dave was notorious for it was his Nintendo DS, and what was fantastic was Dave showed me the whole universe of a modified DS. Having the R4 yes
was the Vogue.
Yeah, exactly. The R4 that you have all these emulators on it and all that, and Dave loved to go back and play older games rather than the more modern games or whatnot. And Dave would go to the bathroom with his DS. We'd lose him for half an hour.
I am going to up this story with a story that you've never heard about me.
Ooh.
When I was in 6th or 7th grade,
okay,
I moved a CRT TV, a heavy TV, into the bathroom and hooked up a Sega Genesis.
Oh my God.
But the weirdest thing is, like, it wasn't like you were going to lose your progress and you had to keep up where you left off, because it was like you had to turn the whole thing off and move it.
Right.
So like it had nothing to do with like I had no good reason to do it other than the fact that I was just like pure stimulation addict who couldn't keep his hands still. Jesus. But like basically that's been me my whole life. When I was a kid, yeah. I would like take the knobs off kitchen cabinets, and my mom always called me screwdriver fingers because I literally was just like, put something in my hands, stimulate me please. And this was like before cell phones, before all the things that people are addicted to that they say are ruining modern society.
Those young kids and their cell phone, the Facebooks.
Yeah. Well, I know me specifically, if they had a lot of that stuff when I was a kid, I probably would have like just failed school. I would have just been like so attached to whatever,
but you're
the
not
internet specifically.
So you're not that much older than me though. Yeah. But did you have a Game Boy?
Well, I had access to one, but I didn't own it.
Okay.
So I would like to the point where I would mow the lawn to do my chores, pushing the lawnmower with my elbows and holding the Game Boy and playing Metroid or Tetris.
Because I've had this conversation with my parents. Like growing up, I think I want to say probably when I was moved here, so about 5th grade is when that's when the Game Boy Pocket was like a big thing.
Yeah.
And I got one. I remember it, and I want to buy one now on eBay. The gold Game Boy Pocket.
Oh yeah. I had the clear one.
And
one of my best friends had.
I would bring it to school. I would bring it to dinner and stuff like that.
So the portability was the danger.
Exactly. I think that was it. The portability of it. And I'm at dinner with my parents every once in a while, like here, like often. Like recently, and like I'll see kids, they're playing on their cell phone, they're playing Fortnite or whatever on their cell phones or on the tablets. And I'm like, man, these kids, they need to put that stuff to socialize. And my parents look at me like, you were that kid.
Let me ask you a question. How many holidays did you spend involved in like something other than the family gathering?
Yes.
Like holding the
yes.
I'm not even I'm talking like in my 20s. I'm
no,
talking like Thanksgiving, people I haven't seen for years. Like, hi, nice to see you.
But it was like for me being Spanish, it was kind of like daunting almost, I would say. All the family is talking Spanish, everything. I don't know Spanish.
Do you have a large family? Because I had like a small.
Yeah, I have a large family. So like whenever we would go down south to visit them or something like that, it was like a huge family, all of them talking Spanish and everything, and of course me not knowing Spanish, and I would sit there.
See, I thought you knew Spanish better
than
me.
Nope.
I picked it up like over the last 10 years. So
yeah, it's like for me in Spanish, I could count, so I could do the letters.
Nada, nada.
Exactly, nada.
On Twitch and be like, oh, okay.
But I could do reading it or hearing it. I could
get the gist.
Exactly. It's pretty much like context clues. And anything like they teach you in the SAT prep or anything like that. You don't know this word, use the side word, try to figure out what it means. So it's like I could do that. So I could see a sentence, I could see a paragraph, and be like, I could deduce from it what it is. But can I hold a conversation in Spanish? No.
This is going to sound nerdy. I actually enjoy that. Like, it's like a mini game. The game is that I'm having a conversation with you, but the mini game going on in the back of my mind is like, what words do I know that fit in the sentence?
Try to translate it all in real time.
You're like, tick, 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 tick. It's like a challenge.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like, that was like a big thing with me was, I had this large family, and they were always, the adults would do their thing. So it was like me and my younger brother, we would either bring our Nintendo 64 and just hook it up to the TV and just
take over a TV.
Play that.
That's the funny thing back then. It was like,
or Game Boy.
Take over.
Yeah, we would have our Game Boy Colors and play Pokemon, play something like that. Like, yeah, but now it's just like I'm older now. It's just like I don't know. I don't sit there on my phone now.
I do. Like, I read books in line and stuff. I see people, like, I was in line for a barbecue place, and the person in front of me is, like, huffing and painting their foot, tapping their foot, and letting the crew or whatever know how unhappy they were with waiting.
How do you want your pulled pork?
Yeah, but, and I was just reading, and this lady's, like, in her 50s or 60s or whatever. The meme is that always like some Karen, some blonde lady in her 50s is always like knocking everything off the table.
I need to speak to the manager.
Exactly. And I'm just reading a book. Like, if I have a book, again, if I'm stimulated, I'm fine. It's like I can entertain myself at any given time. But I think if I was a kid, the danger actually would have been like the internet, because when you have access to other people, when you have this social element like a guild or whatever tied in, when you have the unlimited potential of unique interactions, because every person plays against each other a different way at a different time at a different situation, like I would have been just lost. I've always been a pretty smart guy, but I couldn't really like stay focused in school. I just didn't, honestly, I just didn't care. I didn't care about high school. Like, at some point I decided that I would rather be like Goodwill Hunting and not give a crap. And I don't know why. I don't know who I was trying to impress. It didn't serve me at all in the slightest, but that's something that, I'm a little catching up now in college and everything.
Like you said, the internet, like, it's definitely ruined me. Reddit.
Yeah.
Reddit.
Oh yeah, Reddit.
That right there is just like
we're definitely gonna have to get in there.
My downfall is just if you say whenever you're in line you have like a book or something like that. I'm on Reddit and it's just like I'll be in line again ordering food. I'll just load it up, pull up the first couple posts, and I'm just like
the scary thing about
stuff like that.
The internet also is like if you're like I'm gonna watch a movie, I have 2 hours, it's 2 hours long. For internet or Reddit or whatever your thing is, it's like I have X hours, I can spend X hours there. It's like whatever time you have, I'm just flushing it down the toilet, like there it's going to go. But I actually have like a really bad. I'm not ashamed to say this, especially because my family's not that big or around anymore. But Mr. Downer.
Don't do that to me again.
What I'm saying is, all I'm saying is I'm not ashamed to say that there's like a history of addiction in my family, and my dad was like an internet addict like towards the end of his life, and I think everybody has their own, like when you're like
their own
really,
vice.
yeah, exactly. When you're really addicted to like spending time on the internet or the video games, you look at somebody who like gets drunk every day when they get home, and you're like, oh, what a loser, he has no self-control. And then you think about it, you're like,
yeah, like
we all do the same thing. We all have an escape that if you don't rein it in, it will control your entire life.
Absolutely.
Your whole life will become the escape.
And you know, I can't remember who. I think it was probably like I think it was Anthony Bourdain that his thing is like, you know, I could have just sat around, smoked weed, and you know, done nothing all day, but I'd rather, you know, I'm out there doing something. But yeah, you know, at the same time, sometimes you do need those days that you just veg out. Just do you can absolutely nothing. But like you get a good balance.
Yeah, if you're self-aware, you can definitely see like the advantages of like your emotional state from like checking out, you know, like the beach or whatever your checkout might be. So it's definitely necessary. But yeah, that's the thing. You gotta, you know, you have to stop at some point. You know?
Right.
And that's part of growing up is like, you know, when I'm a kid, it's like, I got no responsibilities. You know, whatever I want to do, I do it at that given time. And then that's actually kind of like what I wish I had learned sooner,
right.
Which I actually respect you a lot for. Like, you're like, I want to learn an instrument. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play it. I want to learn MMA. I'm gonna train. It's like that's the thing that of all the things my parents taught me, of all the things that they did well, that's the one, and I can take some of the responsibility too. Is like, that's the one thing I should have learned was like applying yourself.
Yeah.
You know, setting goals, going for them.
Right. But I mean, it's not too late. And,
no, that's like
like you said, you know, you were at home like shit. I'm building these faux universe.
Exactly. I'm taking so much pride in these like digital creations. It's like
want to do something for myself. And then you're like,
exactly.
Hey, Robbie.
I mean, this is a digital creation too, but you know what I mean. It's like something that has real substance.
Plus, also you have no physical contact with people except for.
Yeah,
work, right?
That too. You know, getting out of the house, reaching out to people. I enjoy the connection part. You know, the community. Yeah, I love it. I could definitely be more involved. I've become kind of like very solitary. Like the things I do are solitary. I chat with a couple people. I'm not in their Discords. I'm not like reaching out to people. It'll probably get worse when school is back in session, but. This is me, you know, challenging myself.
This is me, world.
This is me living my best life.
Accept me or not. Like one of those things.
A total diva.
Well, that's what that's you.
Me? Do you think so?
Oh, yeah. No.
I mean, I like, you know, everybody likes attention. I've always been like the class clown, the ham, you know.
Which is why you were pretty much good as the front man as the band.
I like to think so. You know, there's better out there, but I thought I did a good job, you know. There's sometimes when you like you do something and you know what it's like, you have a eureka moment where you know you're doing something and it's hard and then you do it and you're like everything just works out and you're like that's the point.
It's how that moment that snaps like
this is how you do it. I've known it all along.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I heard somebody say I'm sure it was somebody famous, but I don't know who it is. It's like writing music isn't really so much like writing something as discovering something, because the notes are there, they exist. You have to put them in the right way to get someone to feel a certain way, you know, like a sad song or a happy song. So it's like every really good timeless song is like somebody uncovered that from, you know, word choice, chord progression choice, you know, and it just the perfect combination. That's what I feel like I'm always looking for, is like, how can I do this perfect? I'm not a perfectionist.
Perfect, you know, not you know, you can't screw up on the path there. It has to be perfect on the get go. No.
I accept that these things will not be perfect. I'm not a perfectionist, but I just am really have attention to detail. Okay. So like it's really hard to like write a song and be like, okay, it's done. You're like, well, this word could be a little bit better. Well, let's shoot this. But at some point you have to set it out to the world and say, it is what it is, and you have to mute the comments.
You have to mute the comments. Mute the comments. Just la la la.
Well, I mean, you can hear you. You can read a couple of them, but like, there's so much just anonymous toxicity that, if you really want to be motivated about what you do, you build your community, but you just kind of have to.
Which I mean, it's like what we're doing this, as. This is what we want to do.
All 8 of us. Yeah, exactly. We were here because we want to be.
Exactly. We want to put this out. We want to put videos out. We want to, just hang out and talk.
Yeah, that's why I reached out to you. It's like
and hopefully, get more people involved, either be it, be calling people and be like, hey, you want to just
calling up old connections.
Yeah, calling up old friends. You want to do something? So, we have a little podcast.
Well, I honestly think that a lot of people are going to say yes because we're just too lovable.
If I do say so myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things we'll discuss it real briefly because it's not really for this format, but we want to do video game sommelier. We want to pair video games with drinks. And one of the many ideas where we were like, we're going to have a horse and we're going to have a clown and it's going to be awesome.
And that's what it was. You were like, I want to do this idea. I want to do this. I'm like,
hey, we could play music. We could play music. That's awesome.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, Dave. Well, we're going to start with this episode 0. So, and then we're going to do other stuff too. But we still need to at least get it out there.
So episode 0, we don't know all that it's going to be, it's like you have all your ideas and you do 10 of them, and idea number 7, they're like, this is our favorite thing, this is all we want to see you do, this is the thing that's going to get you all the views, and it might be video games sommelier, it might not be video games sommelier.
I mean, do you want to talk about you kind of like briefly said what it was, but you want to talk more about it?
So we're going to be pairing video games with drinks, and I'm going to start because I have one that is really important to me. Some of them are going to be like, this is something that I really love that I just want to share with the world that I don't think has gotten enough attention. Some of them are going to be like, I just really want to get Robbi to drink the most awful concoction
and play the most awful video game. Yeah. So for those not familiar, the sommelier, their job is to pair wines or just drinks with different foods. Like, if excuse me, sir, I just want the mahi mahi. Oh, what do you recommend with that?
Finest.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's one of those words that like when you see it written, you're like sommelier, Somalia, like what is that? Yeah. But everybody knows what it is. They just don't know that they know what it is.
So in this it would be either, and we're still fleshing out the ideas, but I think I like the idea of you presenting one to me,
take turns,
and me giving it to you. Exactly. And take turns. It's we could do like say, here's Pokemon Snap, and this is the drink I feel like best exemplifies.
It could be something
Pokemon
that
Snap
fits the mood. It could be something that fits the I don't know. As long as you can explain it, you're kind of presenting it to me, and right. I assume that you're going to drink it too because it wouldn't be fair to get me to drink some awful thing by myself.
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna give you mead every time.
Mead. I don't even remember the last time I've had mead. Honestly, I'm not really a huge drinker, which is good because, like I said, addictive personality. I would be like just basically near getting sloshed, and that's not what it's about. It's about there is a demographic that is not playing Fortnite and drinking grape juice. There's older gamers, and we relax and have a drink, and it has a lot of potential.
Right, and I mean, we have a lot of
huge library of games.
Yeah,
huge library of drinks.
We both play several games, and we both have been playing games for I don't know how many 30-something years.
Yeah, don't spoil it. We still look youngish.
It's those good genes.
Yeah,
but we're not wearing pants.
I think it'd be fun too, like if we invite people that just anybody who's doing anything, that basically the guests, and they we're like, hey, bring a drink, or just tell me a drink, I'll buy it. It's not, you don't have to buy it. It's not a big deal.
But
hopefully just play the game with us.
Hopefully also get some local local brews around
Yeah,
here
there's
because there's a whole bunch
breweries.
of local breweries around here that we could get something specialized. Oh, here's this brewery. We're just gonna do these drinks from this one brewery or something like that.
I will definitely be tapping your brain for that because I'm not very knowledgeable about that particular part. But that's one good thing about me and Robbie is like we're coming at it from a different angle. He's been a huge Nintendo fan. I've on the Genesis. It's like we have a different.
Yeah, but also you're more, at least from when we were living together, and whatnot. You were big into JRPGs.
Yeah, I grew up on JRPGs. Hard.
That was your thing, the JRPGs. So I'm not too savvy on the JRPG side, but
it was mostly something I did when I was younger, just because I appreciated like how complex they were compared to like other 16-bit games, other 8-bit games.
You're more like a story-oriented person.
Actually, I'd say I'm more of a strategy-oriented person. Like,
oh, that's right.
I enjoyed what was building
a
team and leveling them. And
what was that one tank game that you played when you were?
What now?
I remember it was a tank JRPG kind of thing.
That's
what your PlayStation does.
Valkyria Chronicles.
Valkyria Chronicles.
I really like that series. It's an interesting mix. Yeah. That's the thing about RPGs is like people don't realize that RPG mechanics are basically in everything now. Is like if you want, there's some kind of progression, there's some kind of equipment change, there's some kind of level up that you're looking to do. Especially in games where they like want to hit you with the microtransactions because they're like, hey, that other guy, he's level 80, you're only level 75. Do you want to spend $10?
Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, if you make me play a game that has microtransactions, we're gonna have to take a shot. That's the rule. That's the punishment for inflicting that.
Try to think. Yeah. So it's like our plans are either games that are near and dear to our hearts,
mm-hmm.
games that we think are just the biggest abomination ever, or just just things that are
it's a
just
versatile
fun.
idea. It's hopefully a versatile podcast channel. Brand, whatever you want to call it, whatever. We're gonna do videos. We're gonna do a lot of different stuff. Personally, I'm into a lot of like weird art right now. I worked at a furniture store for a long time, and I didn't care about interior decorating before that. And now I'm like, I can melt beads, I can paint, I can draw, like I could do it all. So the same way that I'm like having to rein myself in. I have to like choose an idea, do it.
Right.
When I inherited my mom's place, she had a room that was an office, and there was literally like 50 arts and crafts projects, and they're like scrapbooks, painting. She's actually an author. I don't know if you knew that. She
remember.
Okay. Yeah, she wrote one romance published, many unpublished. But anyways, so I don't want to do that. I want to get ideas, go through with them, put them out to the world, give birth. I think that's our, being a man is like, that's our act of creation.
Oh, I was say that's your goal, to give birth.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, I like that feeling of like putting something out and like I made this. Like, this is, no one can take this away from me. This is something that if it's good, people will want to see it. It's it's that simple. Yeah, you don't have to be. There's always those guys who in music or anything are like, they're just so full of themselves. Like whatever they're doing is just a vehicle for their ego. Is like, look at me. But
yeah, I could name a few.
Yeah, probably.
We can name a few.
Yeah, if you believe in your product, you put it out to the world, and people are like, oh, you're just doing a podcast with two guys. Who cares? We want to be here.
Two guys, one podcast.
Yeah, 2 guys, 1 podcast. 2 guys, 1 burger. 2 patties, 1 bun. I don't know. 2 patties, 1 Where am I going with this?
2 buns, 1 patty.
Yeah, thank you. You're gonna have to come out on a limb and save me a lot. So that's So yeah, Robbie's the classy one. Me, I'll get a drink from the gas station door, and that's good. I have no shame when it comes to like embarrassing myself.
You would get the 7-Eleven brand Four Loko.
Exactly. You know what they drink in England? Dragon soup. It's basically Four Loko, but
what is dragon?
It's the same idea.
It's just like energy drink with alcohol.
Get really drunk, but don't realize it because you're so high on caffeine, and that's when you really get into a lot of trouble. But we're sponsor friendly. We don't advocate getting into drunken brawls in England.
Do you remember? I don't know if you drank Sparks. Did you ever drink that?
Maybe once or twice.
It was like the early days of like
the
whole with like it was the alcoholic energy drink.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one that was the one that I drank, and man, that was awful. I was at a Metal Gear Solid one. Which one?
Ooh, tell me.
Metal Gear Solid 4,
mm-hmm.
Sons of the Patriots. That release, and my roommate at the time had 2. He's like, "Oh, here you go, take 1." So we're in line we're in line for at GameStop and I'm drinking it. All of a sudden, I'm like looking around, like I smell colors.
Oh no!
And it was awful. Like just I don't know if I had like like people later on I was like, oh, you probably had like a bad reaction to the fake sugars or whatever.
Yeah,
but I was like, I just don't know what it was. And after that, I stayed away from all kinds of like
I'm really
Four
bad
Locos
with
or
energy
anything like
drinks.
that.
I'm really addicted to energy drinks. Like I just don't feel complete without. I don't drink coffee.
Yeah,
I
same.
just drink energy drinks. But you feel like if you feel weird and you check your pulse, it's like bum, 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 bum.
Right.
That's no bad news. That's my other vice is caffeine addiction.
Yeah.
I never smoked cigarettes. Never did
God,
drugs.
don't.
When we were playing music, we were like, we're a rock band. We don't do drugs. It's like we're the most boring. But like two of the guys, their dad's like I always get the exact terminology wrong. Like a minister type, job in a church is like no tattoos,
right?
No, barely any piercings, no drugs. We'd be at a party. I don't even remember what band. And everybody would disappear to one room to do what I assume is cocaine, and we're just like, we're just here to have fun. I don't know.
Girls just want to have fun.
That's neither here nor there, but yeah, we were. So my addiction, that's my addiction.
That's our plan with this thing, with this channel. Like you said, channel brand. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, just try to get stuff out there that we think are fun for us.
Yeah,
and
that's the main thing.
Hopefully others will enjoy.
Yeah, we don't want to get like political. We don't want to get like there'll probably be news things that we just can't avoid talking about because they're just such a big deal to like gaming or whatever. But yeah, that's not the main goal. The main goal is to tell stories, to have a good time.
Yeah, like I said, interact with people. Try to get other people's feedback. Try to get people involved rather than just us talking to each other. I mean, we could sit here like that's the thing with Dave and I. We've known each other, and when he asked me about doing this podcast, we probably hadn't talked in Christine's birthday.
I did come to your bounce house, but that was like 2017 or 2018 early.
Because that's my 29th or 28th birthday. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I think the last time was Christine's birthday was when we went to the escape room.
Yes.
And Dave and I, although yes, I had a bounce house. It was out in the backyard. This giant thing. It was just a bunch of grown men.
Honestly,
it was you, me, Brandon, just a whole bunch of tech people that like I worked with, and Dave. Dave was the only one who didn't work with me, but
different circles,
grown men in their 30s bouncing around in a bounce house.
Honestly, my whole life, I've always chosen friends or lovers or whatever by being silly. It's like if I see like Andrew, like one of my best friends. There was like cooler kids in class. There was like other people that there was like socially more reason to be with. But I was like, he's the silly one. Like he's the one I want to be around. He's the one I want to spend time with. Right. And that's why I texted you as like, I've been watching a lot of Chernobyl, so a lot of my analogies are going to be like radioactivity. Right? So you take.
I want to know where this is going.
Well,
radioactivity. Are you calling me toxic?
I'll put the link in so it makes more sense later because it was a video I watched. But basically, you're trying to get a runaway reaction, and you take two lead spheres and and it forces the neutrons or whatever to critical mass, and like that's us.
Yeah,
me and you.
And that's it.
Bouncing ideas off of each other.
So we hadn't talked to each other for good year or so. I think there was like the occasional Facebook post or something like that.
Honestly, that's 98% of my.
And then, but like he and I, we could go this long without talking to each other, and we could sit here and just talk. We have a whole bunch of stories with each other. We have two different opinions on different
definitely.
things.
We don't agree on a lot of things, honestly.
Yeah,
and we have two different just realms of experience. Like you are into UFC and MMA, and I'm into crochet and
crocheting cats.
No, honestly, pets. I am really dumb for pets. Like I've petted 4 strangers' dogs today. Just today, I'm always like, "Can I pet your dog, please? I have a quota."
He pulled up to my house today, and he said, "I've met more of your neighbors' dogs than I have ever." I was like, "All right."
Yeah, I can't stop. Like when I was a kid, well, even when I was a teen, people would be like, he must not get enough love at home. Like, he's always wanting to these animals. And I'm like, no, that's not true at all. I have a great home life. I just honestly, it might be because I had too much affection that I was like, I just want to love everything. This is how the world is, right?
Yeah.
And you get a little older and you're like, that's not really how relationships work. But you get to love people and animals like a drowning man that's being saved by a lifeguard. You just hold on to him. Like, I'm just trying to swim, man. You're killing me. What are you doing? So that's been something I've had to also mature and learn more about. But I still love pets.
Yeah,
They're the best. We don't deserve dogs.
No,
we don't deserve cats. I have
cats are the literal devil.
No, I love them. What are you talking about?
No.
So we're now that we're doing something internet oriented, we have to be very active, which is not something that I normally have a Twitter and an Instagram and all that stuff.
You were in charge. You did a lot of the promotion for the band, so
in the MySpace days,
exactly
3 or 4 hours a day, like cold calling people, like, please listen to my band. Here's a link, and half the time people were like, actually, I think our percentage is probably good, maybe like 25% of the time. They're like, don't bother me, and the other 75% is like, I was gonna say don't bother me, but I clicked on it and I actually liked it, which made it all worthwhile. Yeah. So, but honestly, if I do get, not if, but when I do branch out and get everything going and rolling and, respectable, a lot of it's gonna be about my cats, because my cats are the best cats, and everyone says that.
Everybody says their cats are the best. But mine are actually. It's just like everybody says their dogs are the best dogs. And I'm gonna say my dog is the best dog. So. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about my cat. I can't help it. He looks like he's about to explode. He's waiting for that perfect opportunity.
When I see people with their phone out and they're like showing cat pictures, I'm like, are we showing cat pictures? Can I get in on this?
It's like the people with the newborn. Have you seen the picture of my baby? Look at my
Full Metal Alchemist wallet. Like,
oh god,
yeah. We're gonna nerd out about that kind of stuff. Anime, too. Yeah, comics. The comics is we come from different wheelhouses. Comics.
Blocks? Jenny from the block?
Yeah, different blocks. Yeah, definitely. Anyways, my cat. So, when I, take my 30-minute poo ritual that involves whatever digital device is available at the time, he runs right in the door and spends the whole time with me. And he knows my schedule really well. Like, if he sees me come home and, like, greet my already asleep wife, he's like, oh, I know it's not bedtime. I'm not coming in there. But when he sees me get up from whatever chair I'm in at like the end of the night, he's like, okay, it's time. And he just jumps up, he runs right into bed, jumps right on the bed, rolls up next to me like a teddy bear, falls asleep. We sleep like that all night. It's the best thing. And he has a lot of personality. We just didn't expect to keep him at all. We gave him a throwaway name because we were expecting to give him away after his name's Larry. I found him in a parking lot. I found him in a parking lot before a hurricane, and we were like, I just took him in because I don't want anything to happen to him. He's a really nice cat. We're gonna find a home for him. And then by the time he was like doing that really, really like attached, affectionate stuff, I was like, listen, sit down. I'm not getting rid of this cat, and we will fight if you try to tell me to get rid of this cat. The cat that we had at the house, Vladimir,
the
orange one.
No.
Max.
Max, yeah. You found him at your mom's house,
grandma's neighborhood.
At your grandma's neighborhood, and you brought him over
all the way from Lake City,
and
in a cardboard box.
You with these cats that just finally catch you. Like, I have to take you.
I'm like the cat whisperer, or dogs too. Like I can't even count how many cats I had a white cat that you never knew, but right before that, in the last band house, that I found in a Walmart parking lot, and I found a dog that was like bone thin, starving, aggressive, wouldn't let anyone get close to it, and I like corralled it into someone's fence and like fed it out of my hand and like picked it up and took it to my house, and like eventually that dog was too far gone, unfortunately. It was very like food aggressive. I had a pizza on my bed, and I was like,
oh, that's what you're telling.
Don't eat my pizza. Don't eat my pizza. And then he lunged for my face, and then my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, who was like, got rid of him while I wasn't there, because I never would have had the heart to do it. And then she was like, he's not here anymore.
I mean, it was probably for the best. If that's what he was with the food, then.
Well, that's another thing that I've learned too, is like, like I said, overly attached when I was younger, is like some things just have to go. Some relationships just have to go. It's not always for the best. Yeah. Pets or people. Sometimes family. Unfortunately, I've never had to cut off a family member, but sometimes you do have to let go when they're too old and they're gonna pass. Who knows? Or too drunk. No, I don't
You said too drunk, and you looked at me.
No,
like too drunk.
Like, don't leave me hanging. Like I don't know what your family life is like. So.
I'm about to say, you know, if you're looking at me because the old beer mid.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You forgot about the beer mid?
I totally did.
So back to the beginning where I was talking about us with Call of Duty and stuff like that. It was we would play until 7 a.m., but it consisted of a whole lot of Coors Lights. And I would play in the living room, you would play in your bedroom, and Mike would play in his bedroom.
Mike, we hope to involve him too,
yeah,
with art and stuff.
And next to me in the living room, I had a little like TV tray. So I started drinking my beer, left one there, drinking the next one, left one there. And then I figured, you know what? Let's see how high we could get it. And I started stacking it around, and then got the inside.
Well, you challenged yourself.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then I said I was going to finish it by Christmas and have it like a Christmas tree. But, of course, the cat decided that it was better to knock it down. So.
Okay, so maybe cats aren't the most respectful, but I still love them.
But yeah,
especially the fluffy ones.
So, like yeah, I don't want to harp on, you know, obviously want to keep the conversations going, I think, but like this is the kind of stuff that we want to do, just talk about stuff that we've experienced either together, separate, or whatever, you know.
Shoot the poop.
There you go.
What is it? Brand friendly.
What would you say? Sponsor friendly.
Yeah, sponsor friendly. That's what I'm looking for.
Please sponsor us.
Well, you know, we know people. Hopefully, they'll want to share the good word. Of their thing, and we'll share the good word of our thing. And
he, you know, we have people from our past that we know either
they've moved on to other projects.
Are artistic in the sense of, you know, art, drawing, you know, musically. Excuse me, whatever. So we want to get them involved. If, you know, other people, they want to get involved too, you know, you want to just chat with us, you know. But like I said, so outside of this, I stream me playing bass guitar. There's a couple people out there in the community that I'm in that I just did two of them, Osebug and Eaglebone. Them two, we just did a whole 3-hour thing last night of talking about music theory and just talking about just music in general. And here's another fine fellow that I'm trying to, you know, get involved in. Red Lionhead. How's it going, buddy? But Red Lionhead, he's a
our first.
There we go.
Robbie, wait.
Oh, that's right. You get me. But
here's yours.
Yeah, he wants to present me mine in a fancy case. Oh, I got a red one.
Okay, yeah. So,
but yeah, Red Lionhead. I'm trying to get him involved. We were talking about, because he does. So, like you said, I do mixed martial arts. I do what's called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I do Muay Thai, but then also I do
I didn't know you do Muay Thai.
Yeah, I do Kyokushin. And what Red Lionhead does is a branch off of Kyokushin called Shin Kyokushin. So I'm trying to get, you know, him involved to, you know, just talk about stuff, you know, the differences. Even though they're both, Kyokushin is here, Shin Kyokushin kind of branched off of it. There's still differences. There's still changes that he had learned. We learned the same things, but his are probably tweaked a little bit different. So let's just say, if, you know, Red Lionhead wants to get involved in something, or just, you know, participate in the conversation, you know,
I feel like we're in a really like cool place right now, because we can basically do whatever we want. You know what I mean? Like there's no yeah, thank you.
There we go. Do whatever we want.
There's no expectation, you know. We keep it, if it's DIY, if it's low tech, let it be low tech.
Yeah.
We're not trying to fool anybody.
No.
We're just what it is.
Right, exactly. And you know, again, Red Lionhead, he's a bass player. He's a martial artist. He's a tech guy too. He works in IT. You know, that's how he and I kicked it off. Pretty much was, I think I first found
people too.
Yeah, you know people too. But I first found Red Lionhead from the music community on Twitch, and then he said something about Linux, so I started talking about Linux.
Oh yeah, that's probably an instant like. And then it's a language that not a lot of people speak, so you're like,
exactly. My brother. And then he said something. He mentioned, "Oh, I have to go to a fight seminar," and not a whole lot of stuff have seminars for fights. And I was like, holy crap! I was like, this guy has a lot more in common with me than I thought, and
the odds of those two things in the same person are not.
Sorry, electronics engineer to be exact. That's what he said. But sorry, Red. I didn't mean to offend you, but like, you know, if we could get people involved, like, you know, Red Lionhead again. He's I was telling you about him. He's in Norway, so you know his experience in the EU. The EU is different than ours here. Sure. So, you know, he could possibly give some insight into, you know, other topics that, you know, I don't.
Well, we can do it. Yeah, any of it. We can travel. We could go to Norway with it.
And this man sure does know his beers as well. So
nice. Well, that's the other thing too. I want to learn. Like I want people to show. Like on the one hand, I'm not ashamed to like drink girly drinks, and I've always been a little bit like eccentric. I just really don't care to go do something stupid. Yeah, no. And but I'll learn. Like I'll learn what beers are good.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I like went first, because the drink that I chose is like something that I normally would hate, but I found a good one. So it's kind of like, guys, this one's good. I can see I can show you a good one. But you know, we'll get it all taken in. We'll learn new beers. We'll learn new games. We'll learn new bands. We'll, like, you know, we can cover it all at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think what were some of the other segments that you were thinking of besides the sommelier. I mean,
I'm also drawing a blank. We talked a lot of
just about doing stupid, ridiculous videos.
Yeah, we've been bouncing a lot of ideas for like 2 weeks. One thing I really want to do is like video game stories. First of all, I feel like a lot of these ideas are things that like everyone has, but no one's thought of yet. Like I've never seen anyone do a video game sommelier. I've Googled it. I've YouTube searched it. I haven't found anything. So the other thing I want to do is like game stories. Like PUBG is a game of stories. Like crazy stuff happens. Like one time we.
Oh, okay. That's what you mean. Like a story, like something you experienced on it.
Yeah, a memorable victory or a memorable moment or just like an epic moment. And I happen to like to write songs, so like we could write songs about it. We could make. We know musicians. You're a musician. I'm a musician.
I wouldn't call myself a musician. I call myself.
Well, you're musically competent. You know, you understand how to write a melody or how to, you know, analyze. Anyways, the idea is
I got what you mean.
We can make animated stuff. We can make videos. We can make songs. We have a little bit of. We have our hands in every pie.
All right. Mm-hmm. Hands in every pie.
Jack of all trades.
Master of none.
Master. Yeah, that's me totally. I went to school at a tech school, not like a huge, fancy school, for video game and graphic design. And I would say that I am average at 3D modeling. I'm terrible at everything else, but this is another way to force me to edit video, to force me to draw logo type stuff. So I'm just trying to branch out and do, you know.
This is me, Mom. This is not a phase.
I'm trying to level up, basically. I'm trying to spend all that effort and energy into the real world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, I know you mentioned other segments. I don't want to pull up my phone and try.
Yeah, gaming stories.
Seriously.
I just had another idea the other day of like criminally underrated things. Just anything that you think people like. When I showed you the intro song that we use today that we might use for the conceivable future is an 8-bit cover of a Duran song by a Mr. Daryl Banner. He is very talented. I think he has a really good ear for melodies and counter melodies, and he doesn't just like make the song in 8-bit and publish it. He puts his original spin on it.
Yeah.
And he's criminally underrated. That video it's the best 8-bit song that I've heard to this date, and it has like 300 views. So criminally underrated. We want their stuff pushed out. They want people to hear us pushing their stuff out. You
need to listen to more Ailstorm, right? Right, Red Lionhead.
I'll take it.
Ailstorm has some good 8-bit intros.
So we had to choose 5 tags for our channel, and we chose rock as one of them. But I have recently been branching out into, I wouldn't say rap, but you know, hip hop, a little more hipster, you know, elevated vocabulary hip hop. So like I'll take any comers, honestly. And
that's the thing too.
I'll rap battle anyone. No, I'm just saying I want to learn
because we want involvement with the viewers and everything, because I was telling Dave about being the music community of Twitch, I've learned of so many new bands. You know,
yeah, he's definitely like forging the way that inspired me to do a lot of things.
Red Lion had turned me on to Ailstorm, turned me on to Beast in Black, Battle Beast, few of these European bands, Elevate, like these European bands, and then also these like I showed you the folk metal bands that I would never have ever heard of.
Didn't you say you showed him some stuff too, like that we saw or played? Didn't you say you showed somebody the Venetia Fair?
Well, that was somebody else. Another streamer, Rocktism. I showed Rocktism Venetia Fair because Rocktism shared with me another band that sounded like, you know, festival circusy, and I was like, this sounds very familiar.
Circus is a good like circus. Yeah, punk circus. Everybody puts punk on the end. Everything steampunk, ice punk. You know. Yeah. Anyways.
But I was like, well, let me show you this, and Rocktism was like, I love this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's what I was saying. I don't care if a band is like broken up or not relevant anymore. It's like these are gems that we have. Like our zone of experience is totally different from their European zone of experience. Is totally different from a Midwest zone of experience. So I'm always constantly like finding. So cool stuff.
If we talk music, you know, get other people's input. Get people, you know, hey, you know, I don't want to be stuck to, because again, I was talking to Dave today. We were on a drive to the store, and I was telling him, you know, if it wasn't for this, I'd be listening to the same music. My Chemical Romance,
The Used, when we were in high school. High school
Live, is, like stuff like that.
High school is when you have your finger on the pulse of entertainment. It's like that's your full-time job. Right. It's like buying a cool T-shirt. You know what I mean? So I happen to extend that window by like being involved in music, by seeing who's successful, playing with bands, seeing which bands actually didn't suck when I played with them.
And I think that
wanting to get a lot of them on
when you guys were playing and I was there, I would, you know, meet the bands, meet the other local bands. I was like, you know, they play some good music. Let me look into them some more. So like I listened to some of their stuff, but you know, it was never any big bands. But yeah, and like you said, Reliant had the thing with like European and folk music. You guys do have a much broader, or I guess a much longer history that, you know, it's you can see the influence in it. Obviously,
I've seen a lot of that.
Obviously, America is a very young country.
Well, you know, we have our own. That helps us in some ways. We have this kind of like upstart, rebellious mentality when we do anything. Yeah. But it hurts us in some ways. We don't have this like traditional sound that like a Romanian gypsy punk band would have compared to like
exactly what you just showed me earlier.
Yeah. Go Bordello is really cool. But the only sound that's like really American, you know, everybody raps now, everybody plays rock now, but the only sound that's like really American is country music, and I have practically no interest in country music other than the point where country music was still like rock before it was like
really so Kid Rock.
No, I mean like Black and White, you know, everybody after the movie came out, everybody's a fan of Johnny Cash, but like, you know, that kind of stuff. I have a buddy who's like really big punk rock guy who me and him would like go to shows and get in pits, and he is like Merle Haggard is like my jam. So I have some experience with like, you know, well, hipster, slightly elevated. I have a more refined palate, but that would be almost like playing in the band. It was almost like a detriment because you're supposed to be networking with all these people and riding on each other's coattails. And I was like, no, I don't like their music. I don't want to talk to them. I don't like their music. The people that I still keep in touch with is like the people who I like their music. Well, that's not fair. Some of them I did lose touch with even though I like their music. But the people who I want to get in this room is because I like their music.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of them are, you know, Joanne from Awestruck is painting. Shout out to Joanne, is painting, and he has a website. And Mike is drawing, and he has, you know.
Does Mike have a website?
He does have a website.
I did not know he had a website.
He was going to do children's books for a while.
Really?
Yeah, he's you know, doing his thing. So everybody's doing their thing.
I did not know he. Well, I mean, obviously he and I lost contact for a while.
Yeah, he moved away. I wish he hadn't. Yeah. But you gotta live your best life. So you can only make the best decision of like what you think is available.
So here's the first here's the first band recommendation from Red Lionhead. It is Booty Yard Bandits. Apparently they are
getting trolled already from day one. Day one, they're like, hey, I have a drink recommendation. You drink shit. Listen to garbage.
Mixed country and metal.
There's this weird country thing going on right now. I don't get it. They're like country rap, and it's almost like the gaudy novelty of it is like the draw rather than the sound or the. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not ashamed to say I don't get it.
I'm trying. I think like, has there been anything else kind of like that where it's like these other bands? Because there's that Lil Nas X.
That's what I'm talking about. I didn't want to name names, but that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that Old Country Road and
yeah. Well,
not Old Country Road.
Again, it's not for me. I've over the years, again, I look at things that people enjoy. If I don't enjoy it, I'm not saying you should enjoy it. I'm not trying to kill your fun. I'm just saying it's not for me. I don't get it. Mm-hmm.
And I was watching a video today. It was Samurai Guitarist. He does just guitar videos like either.
Yeah, I've seen you showed me a couple.
Okay, so he was talking about today. He was like, "Oh, let me look up Google questions and answer the questions." And one of them was like, "Why is modern music such crap?" And it's like, it's not the problem that modern music is crap. It's that we look back at the older times and we only find the gems.
Because that's the only thing that's still out there.
Exactly. We ignore everything.
On the radio.
We ignore everything else. Mm-hmm. But because of we're living in this time, we see all the new stuff. So I was like, oh, this is all crap. Well, if it was like 30 years from now, we'll look back and be like, oh, okay, I remember only these gems.
There's a lot of reasons for that. The industry's different. Like, it used to be that like there's a song that's a meme that kind of devalues it, but you don't realize it's actually a really good song. Hello Darkness, My Old Friend by Simon and Garfunkel, or The Sound of Silence, the song is called. And, they would write that album in like 79 and they would be ultra worldwide famous until 89. That does not happen anymore.
Yeah.
Someone puts out a single, they're hot for like 6 months. If they don't follow it up with another single, if they don't make their second record good, they are gone. They are out forever. The media cycle is ultra accelerated. So unless you're like a super dedicated, crazy artistic type like Lady Gaga, you'll just be out of the public eye.
Yeah, and the thing, like relying on what you say is just, I think the thing now is that it's more available for people to do stuff. Because look at us right here. We are sitting in.
The bar for entry is very low.
Well, it's not that. We're sitting in my spare bedroom. Mm-hmm. And I have equipment that can be used in a studio.
That's a good point. The cost has gone down.
Exactly, the cost has gone down. The mixer that I use, back then probably would have cost thousands of dollars. Yeah. Something like that. I got it for a couple $100. My computer, again, I remember our first computer, my parents' first computer was like $2,400, something like that.
I don't want to age myself by telling what my first computer was.
And it was a piece of crap.
Yeah.
And but I think that it's more available, and there are more platforms too for them to put out. SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitch. Like there's a whole bunch more.
Honestly, this is a really good time to do a podcast.
Exactly. So like you said, it is a bit of a survivorship bias, and what Dave said too is that.
I've never heard that survivorship bias.
It's like you have to release a single. If you don't have a follow up to that,
you're gone.
You're nobody. Mm-hmm. Sure, maybe later on down the road you come up with something new, but then you have to stay relevant.
You have to reinvent yourself.
And again, you have to stay
But it used
trending.
to be, Madonna. There's 80s Madonna, and then she reinvents herself in his 90s Madonna. Now it's like you're 2016 Kanye. Now you have to be 2017 Kanye. It's like 1 year. You have to reinvent yourself like every year.
And one of my favorite bands growing up was 30 Seconds to Mars. Mm-hmm. I've seen them so many times, and if you go through and listen to their albums, you hear the sound changing to what's like current.
It's not entirely the internet, but it is a result of like the internet age,
Right, and they're like I haven't listened to 30 Seconds to Mars in a little while now, because the last song that I heard was more of an Imagine Dragons kind of sound, and I'm not really too. Like I wouldn't say savvy. I'm not really much of a fan of it.
I agree.
That's just it.
I think too, there's a lot of pressure, especially in rap right now. That's like a sound gets popular, and it's like if you don't start playing that sound, nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Like if you're not doing mumble rap, you're irrelevant.
Look at emo. How long did that last? And then they switched it up, and sure, there are still some emo bands, but
they wouldn't call themselves that.
No. Look at some of the bands that were starting out when you guys were playing. I'm
not sure where you're going. I would throw out a band name, but I'm not sure where you're going.
I'm saying some of the bands that were starting out whenever you guys were still playing, they've changed their sound over time. Mm-hmm. Who the hell is that band from Ocala?
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of the name either. I can think of the guy's name. Is it Petey? Is he the singer?
I can't remember, but
I can't remember.
They
had like pretty, MTV run and whatever.
Right, and they've changed their stuff now to be a little bit more heavier.
Oh, you're thinking of Day to Remember.
A Day to Remember, yes.
Yeah, okay.
A Day to Remember. I remember those guys hanging out at the Social, hanging out at Back Booth, and they were more emo starting out a little bit, and they got heavier and heavier because that was the sound that was good because the emo was fading out, and that's what I think that also. You think
that's what that was? You don't think that was like them just being more what they wanted to do?
Figuring themselves out.
It's not just figuring yourself out too, but sometimes you do.
Yeah, you should have known that, Kate. No.
First of all, sometimes your lineup changes up, and the people that are in the band are like, I don't want to play that.
Right.
But I feel like when you're first starting out, there's more pressure to conform to what's popular, and then like you said, you do what you wanted to do. It's like, you just play what gets you in the door, and then you start being more kind of true to what you feel like doing.
Yeah, but I posted something on Facebook today, and you liked it or something like that. 18 Visions.
I did. Yeah, no, yeah.
18 Visions. If you look at 18 Visions, 2004 18 Visions, look at 2017 18 Visions. Holy
I'm not
crap.
that familiar. I'm not that familiar with Day to Remember either.
It's just night and day, but they got heavier. I don't know if they found a sound that they liked or whatever, but yeah, and again, I just think it's out. I don't want to say the industry is saturated, but there's
it gets that way, sure.
It's just that there's a lot more. People can put a lot more out there because, again, the platform is right there for you. You don't have to go to a recording studio to record all this. If you have a multi-track, you have a mixer and a computer, even hell, a laptop. You could do it all right totally. There.
And people actually want it. That's what's changed a lot. Is like when we first came out, MySpace was the thing, and nobody wanted to hear what you had to say. Now they consider themselves a music platform if you're there at all. Facebook's kind of the same way for bands. I feel like people search you out rather than the other way around. Yep. But if SoundCloud was a thing back then, we would have had more reach. Obviously,
yep.
It would have been, and not maybe entirely different, but it would have been easier.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about going back to college. Is like proliferation of technology just made everything easier. Like getting my homework done. Not fresh out of high school, I couldn't keep track of anything. Scheduling and anything, and now it's all just right there, so I'm like, I'll do my homework.
I think me with a computer in college really ruined me because I would just do everything else but the schoolwork.
Oh yeah, you're the guy in class with the laptop.
Yeah,
I see that guy all the time. I honestly I'm not a laptop fan.
I mean, I was doing computer programming, so I was like, I needed a laptop so I could do do the coding on the laptop.
I was so bad at computer programming. I like the concept. I like the logic puzzles, figuring stuff out, but I couldn't get through a lot of I'm not even talking high level classes. I'm talking about mid-level classes, like Java classes. I'm like, please help me. And my classmates who I'm friends with are like, and they're in bands too, by the way. We get them on here. Helping me out so much that it's like, this isn't even hardly my work anymore. Like I'm never going to cut it in this field. Maybe something that I'll learn in my spare time, but not something I would do for a living or for a grade for that matter. Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody at work today about that. I was like, if I could go into a different career, I would.
Yeah, I saw you say something about that.
Because it's computers. I love computers. It's something that
no problem sitting in front of them for 8 hours. 10 hours.
It's something that I've done my whole life.
Same.
As long as I can remember, Windows 3.11, MS DOS, stuff like that. I was able to troubleshoot and able to do stuff for adults that had no clue what they were doing. Like I don't understand how he did it, but he fixed it.
If you were on an Apple IIe. In 1995, I don't know, earlier than 1995, and CD ... in
right, yeah.
People look at you like, oh, you're a hacker.
Yeah,
you're hacker man.
And as I got older, I learned programming. I knew web design. I knew different things here and there. Then where I'm at now, where I'm doing development. So it's but if I could go back, I wouldn't do that as a career. I would do it as a hobby. I would keep it a hobby. So it's just like, man, it's
so
just.
You don't grow to hate it?
What?
So you don't grow to hate it? Is that what you're saying?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. If you love something and you do it for a living, then you can grow.
Right, exactly. But playing.
So what do you
music,
think you would do? See, this is my problem. When I was a kid, if you asked me what I would do, my answer would be like that.
Right.
And now in the last 10 years, 20 years, and it's just like
I think that now doing this kind of stuff with
internet,
the
it is a
the
product
music,
that has a lot of reach.
the music, me learning theory on my own, and again doing the Twitch thing, I've learned different things. I want to do something audio engineering. Yeah. If I were to if I were to do some sort of a career like that, me a 9 to 5 thing, I would do some sort of like a either like a radio station, television station, something like that.
I was in a radio, TV production when I was young, and I loved listening to it, but like radio is not a thing hardly anymore. This is the new radio.
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
Something like that.
You want to be in a production.
Exactly. Something where I could do like the audio engineering. I don't know. Something like that. Playing music, I would love to do that.
I'm open to that.
I'm sure you would love that too.
I'm always open to that.
Because then you have the creativity. Yes, it's still a job, but you still have the creativity. Like I don't have much creativity in what I do. Right now. So.
Well, if I could have not done music and I could have done anything, I would have done dance. I knew it would derail if it had to be said. I think dance is awesome. I don't care.
Can you dance?
No, not at all.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure I've been to parties. Well, I mean, obviously, inebriated.
Yeah. I have, I'm into music, so I have rhythm. I can fake it in a large group of people, but like, I'm not gonna like break dance or anything. Yeah. But so, anyways, I again love creativity, but dancing, I watch the whatever dumb dance shows, but I played on stage, and that's right.
We were at the.
You went to that?
And I went to the So You Think You Could Dance in Tampa.
I didn't remember that you went to that.
I was there with my parents.
Oh.
You were there with Kim and Drew.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That first of all, that was awesome. I love breakdancing. I would watch people breakdance all day, every day. But when you play music and you're singing and you're like looking at people and it's really bright and you can barely see them, that's a certain kind of like living your best life, being art, creating. Right. But when you're dancing, you are the product. The world is spinning. I can't imagine what the high just must be like. Like when you see somebody just absolutely kill it, and you just know that they killed it. I mean, that's got to be the best feeling.
It's the same thing. Like, do you remember your first show? I remember my first show.
Absolutely, yeah. Guttermouth, punk band in Palm Bay.
Yeah, my first show was at the Rock and Brews, the Kiss owned brewer.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Gene Simmons owns a.
I mean, I know who Kiss is, but I don't know
Gene Simmons owns a franchise.
Still?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he's like if he's like silent partner, but I believe
they just put his name on it to make money.
I believe it's him and Paul Stanley, but they have a whole bunch of them, and they have one down the road here.
I did not know.
And that was the first show, and I just remember
Was it just
no, it was just us. We just played for a whole bunch of drunk people. And
I thought you were talking about the first show you went to.
Oh, no, not the first show I went to.
The first show I went to.
First show you played.
Man, the first show I played was so awful.
Yeah, well, but still, you're in that moment, and I remember sitting behind the drum set. I'm like,
I could do this every day. Yeah.
Just don't miss a beat. Don't poop myself. That's it.
So
those are the only things that I said. And, exactly. You have, being in that mindset, you're like, I have all these people that are watching me. Mm-hmm. It wasn't obviously like a huge venue or anything like that.
Sure.
It was on the patio of this restaurant bar.
And they weren't there for you. They
weren't there for me. Yeah, exactly. We just happened to be there, and we were playing music, and it was just like, you're in the zone, and I knew at that moment, it's like, I enjoy this. I enjoy this.
Yeah, sure.
I would love to do this, but obviously it's a very competitive industry.
I don't mind the competitive part.
Absolutely not.
I mind the grueling part, like being on the road, sleeping in a Walmart parking lot in a van, like with no air conditioning. I don't understand why they expect creative people to sacrifice so much. It's like, you love this, so you're gonna suffer and you're not gonna make enough money.
Yeah.
It's like there's always somebody who like, even programming, like they treat game developers like garbage. They roll them out when they're about to get benefits, kick them out the door.
Yeah.
Just crunch them. No family life, no work-life balance. But anyways, the first club that we played, again, they weren't there for us. They just happened to be there. We were all right. Our set list was all right. Obviously, your first album is never your best work, but the microphones smelled like 100 mouths had been in front of it. And
somebody has their mouth inside.
It just smells it smells like just pure phlegm, just pure mouth stink. And I think it was so bad that I said something. You know, you ever just talk the first thing that comes to your mind, especially when you're like hyped up on adrenaline and you're just like in the moment. And I was like, man, this microphone stinks. And they never probably, I don't even think they're still around. They weren't even around much longer after that, but they were not pleased with that.
The venue?
Yeah, I just like that. I don't know. I'm hyper like vigilant about like interaction with people, and I can kind of like see where the conversation's going. Yeah. They're not pleased with me at all, but it was so fun. I rode the microphone stand like a horse around the stage. I was just in the moment. Yeah, again, not caring.
You gotta find something that you enjoy, and so, but yeah, like Red Lion Head, he's an audio engineer is his passion project, and it's like, but would you want to do that as a career? Would you want to have, do that on a 9 to 5? Would you hate it at that
also,
point?
What does that look like? Does it look like following a band around and setting up, Warped Tour stages for the rest of your life? You know what I mean? Like, what is being an audio engineer full time?
Okay, yeah. You got different. I want to say facets, but like
where we recorded Starlight Studios, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Right? Is that? And I had a buddy that reached out to me that he was opening up his own studio. About an hour away from here, and I was like, I would love to help you out, but man, that's so far. Yeah. But I could help you out, because then I was thinking maybe I could do tech for audio stuff, where I could set up the computers, I could run the wires, I could do all, because I know I know that kind of stuff, and it was just me being new to it. Would I be able to sit behind a computer and be able to mix and master? Probably not, but I would love to sit around, help out, and be able to learn those kind of things.
I also think that people underestimate the creative input that the studio actually has. When you say mixing and mastering, that's a big deal. Like when you're like, I know that you guys don't have a piano player, but I hear a piano in the back of the song.
Exactly.
Let me just add a piano.
You're the one like Helluel.
Yeah.
That track, the synth.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That wasn't something that you guys put in or anything like that. Right. That's something that they put in because
they do have creative input, lots of creative input.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when they're like, your song goes like this, it could go a little like this, and then you're like, I know.
Right, because I remember sitting there in the studio and Drew just playing on his guitar, and one of them over there just like,
I didn't remember that you were there.
I was, because Mike was tracking his drums, and so
you guys were inseparable back then.
Yeah, exactly. So I was there pretty often, and Drew and I think, were we living together at the time? I don't think we were living, because I think it was at the old band house that you guys were doing that album. But yeah, being back there, I'd see Drew playing the guitar, and one of the guys there was like, hold on, try like this, and exactly
honestly, that was such a great experience. Like, we could have just thrown money at the first person who said yes, and I don't. Probably Johnny met them from somewhere, but they're super talented. I don't know if they even still do it. Starlight Studios, they're
actually right down the road from here. Dude.
Are they still there?
Yeah. I pass by it sometimes, because I remember pulling into the old studio.
Yeah.
But
they're definitely the real deal. Deer Hunter is a good example. Like, there'll be a song and you just hear like his mom and his sister singing. They'll just be like, in the background, and you're like, that's perfect. That needs to be there.
Right.
Like, that's not the kind of stuff you think of when you're like jamming out in a sweaty, hot practice space. Like, la la, that's the stuff that somebody with a separate eye, an editor, comes in and says, this could be better.
And would I love to do something like that? Yes, I would love to do something like that. But of course, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some, if it's just, doing audio for a live set, okay, this person needs this. This person needs a little less of this.
Yeah, a little
okay.
I'm terrible.
They want more high, mid, low, whatever. I would be okay doing that too. I wouldn't mind. It's just, over time, again, what I talked about to my coworker today was, I didn't just get born as like, here's all the knowledge. No, I just started, investigating more, putting more time. It's like, okay, I want to learn this coding language. I want to learn how this operates. And now I'm at a career where, I'm doing development, and it just took me years and years. Sound engineering, I think it would be the same thing. I have now, playing bass guitar, I have a little bit more of an ear, and again, Ostbug, Red Lion Head, Eagle Bone, Rocktism, y'all have definitely helped me out with my music theory and learning things like, okay, what's an octave, what's a fifth, what's a third, stuff like that.
Scale,
chromatic scales, and all these different little things that I would never have been able to do on my own. But them pretty much is like that whole explain like I'm 5.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they've done, and it's definitely helped me out. And I've been able to figure out now, okay, this complements this. This note complements this. This note complements this. So it's like it's making more sense to me now.
It took a long time to learn that as a singer.
So yeah, now I could feel like, okay, I have a little bit more experience than when I was like hit knobs, just smash noise, smash things out. I mean, being a drummer also, that helps out.
I was in a band, quote unquote band like that in junior high, where your friends just like put together whatever garbage instruments they can play and just make, because we were all punk rock, skater kids, and we were just that's the argument. That's the argument with punk rock and that whole movement was they didn't know how to play their instruments. They just strum. They made it a point, like that was part of the brand. It's like, we do not do solos, we do not do pretty music. Like that was the whole point.
Right. It was that whole anti-establishment, what's out there.
Every movement is a counter to the movement before it, which is why I'm kind of really upset with rap right now, because the people who make really cleverly woven words and like really interesting things, they're just like, no, that's garbage. They're trying too hard. Like, are you crazy? Like, if you take, I love Aesop Rock. If there's one thing that I would put out to the world that people don't know that they need to know, it's Aesop Rock. He is not A$AP Rocky, common misconception. He is a lyrical genius. And there's a video on YouTube where somebody like dissected like his word counts and his like vocabulary spread. And it's like so much. Well, and I know you could criticize me on being too
no. I didn't criticize you. I didn't criticize you.
No, that's fine. I know it's true. You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't take it personally. My ex, she's the one who criticized you, which was
that's fine.
Which was, you have, Dave has a very large vocabulary, larger than most people, and his songs, he had some high vocabulary.
It was a hard balancing act to like rein myself
in. So she felt that that was y'all's downfall, that it wasn't catchy enough.
Sure.
But I think that it worked out. It worked out well. I enjoyed it. But maybe that did hurt you guys. I don't know.
I don't know how into Mars Volta you have.
Oh, I love Mars Volta.
But their like vocabulary is like out of this world. Like that's the demographic I was going for. It was like music files. Like, they're going to appreciate how complex this guitar part is. They're going to appreciate how complex this play on words
is.
Exactly,
because, complexity in the guitar, Drew was hell of a guitarist, so...
Yeah, I still listen to him. Like, I've known him ever since I was, like, 15 or 16. And I still will listen to something that he recorded in retrospect and be like, I forgot how amazing this is. Like, you're around something amazing all the time, you just become immune to it.
Because the norm?
Yeah, you're so immune to it. And then you hear someone else play guitar, and you're like... Could you play it a little more like him though? So like, I'm sorry, but like it's so good, and like, oh man, I'd love to get him in here and do something creative as well. Yeah, he's probably itching at the bit. He's like, I'm an emasculated dad, please get me out of my house. It's such a tragedy that like all these creative types that we know that are like, super talented are just like, this is a hyperbole, but flipping burgers. You know what I mean? Just living daily life and just going to work and just wasting away.
Right.
And like, I know some really talented artists too. This girl that I just always am hitting her up like, yo, are you doing something creative? Please tell me you're not just flipping burgers. Please tell me you're not just like, you are someone who needs to be working like
flipping nada burgers.
Yeah. I didn't think of that. Like, it's so much potential. Yeah. I hope that's not too elevated of a name. Like, I don't want people to be like, not a burger. What does that mean? Not a burger. It's like, I have to explain it to you every time.
Yeah.
It's like people are like, what does your band name mean? Like, I shouldn't have chosen something I have to explain every time.
This camera with an E. There you go. Just take it.
But,
just take it.
But I think there's also something about the mystery of it. Like, if I just had a shirt that was like a bun with the word nada in it, people would be like, what's your shirt about? And that's the conversation I want to have. Is like, what is this thing you're doing? Like,
well, how long do you have? Yeah, no, I mean that's like where I think that you and I kind of connect and get along well with there. Like, we have that creativity. We want to do something. We want to put it out there again, and that's why.
You're very driven. Like, when you say that you're like pushing yourself to learn stuff, like that's what I'm trying to do. Like I said, I'm trying to level up. That's the relationship that H3 Ethan has with Ela. That's the relationship that I have with my wife, and that's the relationship that I have with you now as my boyfriend. Is like I just need someone. With
I prefer husband, but okay.
I'm already married. I'm sorry, but I need someone who's like on the other side of the coin, on the other side of the spectrum. Someone who's like structured. That's something I've never had is like structure. When people are like, "What's your 5-year goal?" I'm like, "What's my today goal?" Like I'm just, if I was on the field of a sport or a battle, I'd be like, I am shooting the guy in front of me right now. I don't know what the overall plan is. This is, I need someone else to worry about that. So that's just me.
Don't worry, Kate. Don't worry, Kate. He's not gonna take me from you.
Yeah, but
don't tell her. Don't tell her.
She can hear us through the wall. But yeah, you don't have to do everything. At some point you have to accept what your strengths are and what your limitations are, and work with that. And that's what I got.
And I mean that's why we're we can work well. We complement each other.
Sure.
So I think that.
Wait, should I get the kazoo again? This is the first day. It's a celebration. Celebration of living your best life.
All right. You don't have the chat pulled up on your thing?
I didn't set this up well enough. It keeps timing out.
But let's say and we're hoping that with time with our with time with our creative minds, he's more creative than I am. But
you think so?
I know, absolutely.
I think there's something like a little bit crazy about being creative. So, like you have to be a little bit just kind of like unhinged. You want to share with the class?
I'm not sure what MG199P was trying to say here. It definitely derailed my train of thought for a second there.
Right,
wow.
You figure it out over there. I'm gonna catch up.
So the statement was, I was abducted by aliens when I had a really bad farmer's tan. The aliens see me and incorrectly concluded that our species was two-toned, and due to their mistake, my tan line saved the human race. You're welcome.
All right. What's his agenda with that post? Is there a link? Should I?
No,
is there a video of him saving the world?
There's no link or anything like that. But yeah, that's a very interesting statement.
Thank you for your message.
Yeah,
I really appreciate you.
It's very, very well received. We appreciate that we're still here.
Robbie, you believe in aliens? Okay.
So the thing is, like I've had this conversation with people before. There's a large universe out there. They can't tell me. Like, you can't tell me that we're the only living species out there in this giant universe.
You ever see the extra credits video about the Fermi paradox?
No.
Okay, it's the same kind of thing. So
here we go. Explain like I'm 5.
Yeah, well, I haven't watched it in a while, so I can't quote everything specifically. But the Fermi paradox is if aliens are out there, where are they? And he made this. There's this big long equation that's like the number of observable galaxies times the number of planets that can support life times the amount of time that a civilization exists before it either wipes itself out or dies to disease or runs out of natural resources. All these variables together gives you the probability of a planet, of a species being out there. Okay. And you multiply that planet by how much time is that number by how much time has passed, and that basically, if you follow this math, there should be many observable alien life form civilizations. And the reasons that we haven't seen them are either A, they all died, B, they're hiding themselves from us, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm a skeptic. I'm going to overshare. I'm going to go out on the limbs. I'm going to be the crazy one every single time. I don't have that filter. I'm an atheist. I'm a skeptic, but I think rationally, mathematically, believing in aliens is very reasonable.
Exactly. I think that rationally, mathematically, there has to be some sort of other beings out there. They don't need to be this giant 7-headed creature. But they could be tiny little.
Yeah, microscopic life.
Microscopic life beings or whatever.
Because, the conditions that we're here are rare.
Right.
But like you said, the universe is big. It's very big.
Right.
You just give it the time, and, it might be 1,000 years from now, 10,000 years from now, 100,000 years from now, but there will be other life.
And like Red Lion had said, if aliens came to us, we're doomed.
Yeah.
Just I think
we're a cancer. I mean, look at Mr. Smith's speech in The Matrix. He's like, you're a disease. It's like, I can see why someone looking at us objectively would think that.
Yeah. And it would be an all-out intergalactic war.
Yeah.
I think because something comes in, we're gonna shoot it down, and all of a sudden, what's that gonna do? Yeah.
And the Will Smith move will only work so many times. You can only punch so many aliens. You can only drive so many planes into the exhaust port of the Death Star so many times before they figure it out, and they come back and they're like, okay, you guys are right. But I also think if you have all those resources, right, to travel the stars, the whatever it takes to reach those long distances, either the speed or the cryosleep or a combination of all those things, why bother with Earth, right? It supports life, but who's to say that the life that we can support on this planet is of any value to another species? They might just be like, that's quaint, and keep going.
Right.
Look at them. They got radio. Good job.
Well, we've had this for the last 10,000 years. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Radio, that's so... We psychically communicate now.
Yeah, exactly. We've evolved beyond that.
We don't even have mouths anymore. We just...
It's
going to go... Anytime you talk on the internet, it's going to go in this direction eventually. Either aliens, ghosts... One of the big questions
we need... what was his name? Blink-182.
Travis...
No, not Travis Barker.
No? I thought he was a big ghosts or aliens guy.
No, it was the... Not Mark Hoppus. Tom DeLonge. Mm-hmm. Yes, Tom DeLonge. He's a huge alien guy. He pretty much left the band to do
I did not know,
alien investigation
I knew there was
full
something
time.
Like that going on there, but I didn't know that was it.
Yeah.
It's one of the big questions you always see on H3H. They do it with their guests. Is do you believe in ghosts? And I'm like, no. I was talking to my girlfriend at lunch today. It was
your girlfriend?
You realize we've been boyfriend and girlfriend on and off for 15 years.
Yeah, it's hard to snap.
We've been married for 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't keep track of time. 6 months, I guess. But it's going to take time to flip that over. But there's more dead people than alive people. If you count...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Every 5 inches would have a ghost if ghosts were real, right? You'd be sleeping on ghosts. You'd be bathing in ghosts. They would just be everywhere. And Christine was like...
Yeah, Patrick Swayze.
Christine was like, well, what if they didn't die violently? And I'm like... You really think that cavemen didn't die violently? You really think that medieval peasants didn't die violently? There'd be lots of ghosts out there. And I don't mean to get too real or too personal, but again, I'm always going to overshare. I'm always going to try to get the conversation going to places that are either uncomfortable or maybe helpful for other people. My nephew was like,
I need an adult. He's getting uncomfortable now.
My nephew was we were playing Diablo, kind of bonding and trying to pass the time after my mom passed, and trying not to think about it, trying to take her mind off it. And he just out of the blue turned to me and was like, "Do you think that we'll see Nana in heaven?" And I was like, in my mind, all these conversations happened, the world stopped, and I was like, approach this question carefully, because you have the potential to shatter someone's worldview, maybe help them think agree with what you think is reasonable. So I was like, I don't see any evidence of consciousness without a body. I was like, that's as sterile as I can make that statement without trying to be argumentative, trying to make a big deal out of it. And he was like, no, I think I'm gonna see her again. So I was like, okay,
but
you're entitled to believe that, but I think it's very dangerous in politics, in life, in anything, in religion, to just believe what you want to believe because it feels the best. That's really, really open to exploitation and abuse, and I think that there's a lot of room for
whatever brings you peace. That's
I have plenty of friends who have strong religious beliefs. Christine, my wife, she was a Wiccan when I met her. She was a straight pagan. She had an altar. She had all that stuff, and I obviously thought it was all nonsense, but now we're married, so it's not when I share something, I'm not trying to beat people over the head. I have lost one friendship that was not super close, but mildly close. Yeah. For a college friend over criticizing religion, but it is what it is, I think that.
But if we all have the same opinion, then where's the conversation gonna go? Where's
that too.
Gonna go?
I think the founding fathers got it right. Separation of church and state, or whatever, to whatever extent they intended it, or we have it, is that everyone's free to believe or not believe because they've seen what happens in cultures where theocracy takes hold is very dangerous. For an unquestionable holy power to be allied with secular power is the greatest exploitation you could possibly get is somebody saying, you can't question what I do. I'm sent by God. It's like, no, we don't want that ever.
But
so that's as political as I'm gonna.
We're not gonna. That sounds religious.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into arguments and that's, Facebook. I'm way more polite in person than I am on Facebook. On Facebook, I'll be like, "You're an idiot. I hate you," and in person, I'll be like, "You know what? Let's talk about it." You know, I'm not an angry person.
So the Red Lion had just brought up that Norway just recently did a separation of church and state.
I saw that people were adopting it. I didn't know Norway was specifically the one in question.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, again, the European culture is definitely, I mean, there's no way around it. It's definitely night and day between here and there.
Sure.
So obviously, I feel like, you know, there are some countries that will still have that, you know, ran by the church or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and also, a lot of the time when these, like, you know, laws happen,
you guys still have a king.
Yeah. Well, people find ways to work around things anyways, you know, like people who have power are not going to stop having power because a law got passed, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're going to find a way to get the laws they want passed and the, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So good luck.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting to, you know, Red Lion Head, get your input on different things going on. Obviously, you know, I say, you know, I try to be worldly, but I'm still definitely ignorant to what's out there. You know, just because I have this little bubble of, I'm concerned about what's happening here in the U.S. rather than what's going on in Norway. You know, obviously,
that's a valid viewpoint, though, right?
So, like, you know, there are things that, like, you know, just they made it worldwide that I was curious about. Article 13 with the whole copyright, because it's not just going to affect, you know, them. It's going to affect us too. What's it, GDRP, I believe is what it's called. Digital rights. So another. It was it mostly affected, you know, the EU.
I know there's a lot of, like, blocked content and stuff.
Affected them, but also it affected me because of my job. I needed to be compliant with that stuff. So it's like, you know, I try to be involved in it, but still I'm still GDPR. That's what it is. I got the two mixed up. GDPR. But it's just just I'm definitely ignorant as to what's going on outside in the world. So having somebody, you know, give me insight. Okay, this is what's going on here. You know,
I don't. You know, I wouldn't say that your viewpoint is irrelevant just because you're not informed. But I also think that it's
okay. Important. I tell him all the time. He's on the wrong side of the continent.
Well, I also think it's really important for you to admit that you're not informed enough to have a
no, hell no.
Exactly. I mean, like that's. There's such a drive on Facebook to be like, no, this is what I think, and it has to be this way. Well, you're not informed, so why bother defending your opinion to the death? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not helping anybody.
And I try to avoid, you know, talks about politics. I try to avoid talks about religion because, you know, some people are set in their mindset. I always go in, you know, this is my mindset, but you can, you know, change my view.
Yeah, sure.
Change my mind. Tell me why this is better. And, you know,
that's how I was raised as well.
I'll have a conversation with you, but then when you say, nope, this is it. This is right. You're wrong. And
you tune out. You're just like,
it's like, you know, I can't have an intellectual conversation with you. I just need to be able to. I need to be able to. I'm not trying to persuade you, but here's my counterpoints.
My buddy who's a lawyer, you might have played with us on online games and stuff, John. He's like, before you argue a point with someone, ask them what it would take to change their mind. And if they say nothing, then don't argue with them. Yeah. If it's like nothing you say will convince me that I'm wrong, well, then I'm not going to say anything to you at all. You know, it's like you're acknowledging that your belief in whatever the thing is not based on facts or reason. Right. So I can't help you there. Me personally, my parents were both hippies, very into, you know, civil rights and all that stuff. My parents were both artistic. My dad played the saxophone and he was a photographer. My mom was a romance writer with a master's in child psychology. So very eclectic family. But they took me to church and they were like, we're going to put you in church. And if it sticks, it sticks. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. We're not going to tell you what to believe. We're not going to, you know. And my mom was also always playing the devil's advocate. We would be at, a museum and there'd be an exhibit on, you know, a Native American thing. And we'd be looking and she'd be like, you know, we gave them smallpox and wiped them all out. And the other parents would be like, oh, you told them the truth? You're not supposed to tell them the truth. Yeah. Like, so they told me objectively the things that happened so that I could make an informed decision instead of inherited decision, basically. And I really respect that. My parents, I think not everyone thinks their parents did a good job, but I think they did a good job.
I think that with my parents both being the way they are, them raising me, it was just like, you know, they taught me, you know, have an open mind, and also, you know, I kind
of wish I would know your parents more. Like, I know a lot of my friends' parents pretty well.
I was privileged that, you know, I got to live all over the world too. You know, it was a military. You know, we got stationed in different places.
So where have you lived? You just said you weren't exposed to the world. You had your bubble. Oh, but you were on like
no. Like right now, you know, I've lived my entire adult life. You know, since 10 years old.
So you haven't traveled.
No, I've traveled, but since 10, I've lived here in Florida, here in the United States.
Gotcha.
And it's just like now I'm more involved in what's going on nationally rather than internationally.
Sure.
But, you know, growing up, I lived in Thailand, London. I've visited Japan, Hong Kong, Australia.
Australia really bad.
Like a whole bunch of places. So it's just like I was always moving different places. You know, that's why I have such a wide palette for food. I'm very interested in other world cultures as far as Japanese culture. Like, you know, that's why, you know,
it's fascinating. Everybody loves it.
Me doing martial arts and stuff like that, I'm more involved in Japanese culture, you know, the respect things, the little things that they do. Yeah. Discipline. European history, like I'm more interested in European history rather than American history.
Sure. Well, it is our history in a way. If you go back far enough, that's where they were.
Yeah, but it's just, I'm more interested in that. So it's like, you know, but I've always been open to, okay, the different cultures, they do things differently. They have different mindsets. I need to be accepting. I need to be open to their things. I can't just say, I have it right. This is the way. This is the way I do it. Exactly. You know, I'm not gonna walk into a Japanese house, high five the, hey, what's up? Right. Like, no. You know, you bow down. You show them respect, whatever it is, because that's their culture. That's their thing. So, you know, you need to be open to that, and just it goes to the same thing. Like, you know, you need to be open to other people's mindset. You know, here too. You know,
one of my favorite like internet argument slam dunks is like. Your whole worldview is just based on a squirt in the dirt. Like everything you believe is just because of where your dad and your mom fornicated at. Like you realize that, right? Like, you know, if that's all you have to say, then you're not saying anything at all. Like you have to argue things rationally. That's why they're called fallacies, because they are nothing burgers, because they don't mean anything. You're not winning an argument. You might be convincing some people, but you're not proving your point.
Right.
Yeah. So we went there, day one, ground zero, episode 0.
Yeah, episode 0. But like, obviously, we want this episode to be like, okay, here's insight, insight into who we are as people.
Yeah. And we're definitely not an echo chamber. Like me and you have very different beliefs on things, and we respect each other enough to not unfriend each other over, you know, an argument.
That's another conversation for another day. Unfriending somebody just because of who they're friends with.
Sorry.
I went there. I said.
See, you're allowed to go there, but it's not my battle. I'm not drawing a line in the sand. I'm not that guy. I don't want to fight with anybody.
Yeah, no.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I don't want to fight with anybody except for you off stream.
Okay. Why the?
Exactly. Once the camera goes off, it's fisticuffs. Best believe.
I am not fighting you. There's no way in that. There's not a single. I wouldn't arm wrestle you. I wouldn't joust you. There's no martial combat that I would engage in against you.
You would not. I got these scrawny little twigs.
No way, man. You're a crouching tiger, hidden dragon, man. I'm not going there. But I have to win my argument with words, because that's the only battleground that I have any equal standing on.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, we're not echo chambers. We do have our own opinions. Honestly, he and I, like I said, when we were first planning this whole thing, we had I was like thinking about the like a Venn diagram. It's like Dave and I. There's definitely some overlap, but there's still a lot of things that he and I will.
About MMA.
Yeah, things that he doesn't know about. Things
Joe Rogan's podcast.
Things that have you tried DMT? We can talk about that.
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't either. But yeah, it's like there's stuff that I could talk about, stuff that he could talk about, but obviously he may have an opinion about it. I have an opinion about it.
Isn't that the best way to explore, right? Like to explore it from every angle. Like I'm definitely open to being proven wrong. Like if someone would, it would take more than a photoshopped picture or a blurry picture of Bigfoot. But if someone were to be like, "Here's God," I'd be like, "Okay, I worship that God. He's the God. He made everything. There he is." Like, if I want to worship him, then but I can still choose not to worship him. Yeah. If that he can tell me what he wanted. Okay. Yeah. Can you imagine like being the divine creator of everything, and like everything you ask in return is just absolute adoration at all times? Is like, come on, man. Like, if you gave us the ability to reason, you have to expect us to use it, and you have to understand the result. Like, I've never killed anybody. I've never sinned, unless the little ones.
Oh, bull crap.
Well, I tell lies, but like I haven't murdered or stolen anything.
So let's start with 2008. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go down the list.
See, Peter's upstairs right now, just tapping his foot, listening to the podcast. Like, I'm waiting for you.
So it's 10:40. It's 10:48 right now.
Peter?
Do we
Is it
have?
Paul? Oh, really? I have no idea.
No, I'm saying it's 10:48 right now. So by the time I'm done, I think it may be 10 p.m. next Thursday. If we go through all your sins. No, I'm kidding.
What if I just died right now? What if it's like, if there's a God, show me, and he just struck me down.
That whole like Hanna-Barbera kind of cartoon. If there's a God, strike me down.
on the internet, and then this video went viral, and everyone's like, I guess we have to rethink our worldview.
Yeah, no.
But think of all the clicks we'd get.
Yeah, try to think like what other kind of things, and obviously this is just the start. This is episode 0, so we're just trying to give you an introduction.
They're gonna tell us where to go. I think
introduction as to who we are, and we want to know. Give us feedback. What would you like to see? What kind of topics would you want to talk about?
And that's super. That is another reason why we want to do this like pairing concept, because we want to take suggestions as well. We want to see new drinks. We want to see new games. We're gonna have polls. We're gonna have all of it.
Yeah, exactly, and besides just the talk show, podcast, whatever, we want to do stuff, outside of it, have different goofy videos,
videos, viral nonsense,
or exactly, not
cat videos,
no cat.
They're gonna be real short. They're gonna be like Instagram.
Yeah, you can
I'm gonna accidentally dox a box from Amazon in my house, and then I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah, you could get with Kate, and y'all do.
I know. She was watching so many cat videos.
She was watching so many cat videos. Is that her laughing right now? Oh, she's
sharpening a knife. Is that the sound of a round being chambered?
Yeah. But so I'm just trying to think of what other stuff we could talk, like what other things that we
right now or just in general.
No, I'm thinking about what other things that we could do, and exactly what they need to know for what to expect.
Yeah, I mean AMA, tons of involvement.
Yeah, exactly. You got a question that you want to ask, feel free to ask. Maybe it can steer the top. If we have a topic going on about something, you got a question about it, you want to add to the conversation, just throw it out there, and then we have the chat pulled up.
We take requests, like
not song requests.
Requests.
That's my stream.
But we still want them.
You
we're
can
not
find
going to accept them all.
No.
But we still want to get them.
I'm saying you want me to play music. You could catch me on on every day but Thursday.
Well, yeah, we'll tell them the plan. The plan is Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Obviously we have other jobs, but there'll be times when we don't meet that.
Yeah.
We can substitute. We can pre-record.
Yeah, because we want to do hopefully one video. One of these talk shows at least a week. We want to put out
Let's
videos.
Plays. Definitely some Let's Plays.
Yeah,
because I expect you to suffer through whatever I suggest you to play.
Oh my gosh.
No. I think that I'm definitely going to learn a lot about Crypt of the Necrodancer, Zelda Edition, or whatever the real title of it is called.
Cadence of Hyrule.
Thank you, Cadence of Hyrule. I expect you to.
Red Lionhead just went through that. Yeah, that was
I'm down. I'll do it. Do it to me. Give it to me.
Watching Red Lionhead, because Red Lionhead has it, and it's a good thing too. And it's like I've kind of adopted it whenever I've done gaming streams. I don't like backseat gamers. I don't want somebody in the background telling me do this, do that. It takes away from me.
It's also distracting to just read that nonsense.
It's taken away from me solving the puzzle myself,
which is the real experience.
And that's like with Red Lionhead. I love seeing like there was one in Cadence of Hyrule that he was looking for the flippers, like the Zora flippers. He was so close, and I'm sitting here watching it. I'm at work while because he again, he's in Norway, so the time zone is different. Right. He's I think 6 hours ahead, but he's sitting here. I'm just like watching it, and he goes right past. I'm like,
but you don't want to ruin it for him. Yeah,
exactly. I don't want to say it, and it's just like I'm watching him bounce around trying to go through all stuff. I see him. He's like, oh, I think I need this. I think I need the flippers. I need. Let me check over here. Let me check over here. Let me check over here. And then he gets. I'm like, finally, you have no clue how long I wanted to tell you that.
That's one of the reasons why I haven't streamed yet, because there is a kind of like meta for playing any game. There's a best way to do it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't always necessarily want to know what that is.
No, yeah, exactly.
Right off the bat. Like, I want to play with Hearthstone decks. I want to fail and learn what I enjoy and what works.
Part of the fun of me watching streamers is seeing them struggle. Exactly. Seeing them struggle.
Also, the way that people approach problems is very interesting. Like, they might solve a problem in a completely different way.
Like there's one thing that get Red Lionhead. I feel like he's the star of this of this episode right now.
Get it on the ground floor, baby. You get all the airtime you want.
Red Lionhead was playing Darksiders, I believe it was Darksiders 2, and he was doing a puzzle where he had to figure out how to destroy a door. I had never played that game.
I haven't played that
game. And he was sitting there trying to look at, because you had to line up the bombs, but he was sitting there and I couldn't figure it out at first. I was sitting there trying to figure it out, and I said, "Oh, have you tried sticking this there?" And I was like, "Have you tried sticking the bomb here?" And he did it, and one of his mods said, "Oh, no, that they don't want backseat gaming." But he even says, like, it's not really Robbi telling me do this to solve it.
I think
I'm sitting here trying to figure it out, because I was actually I think we were first. I was throwing out other suggestions first.
There's levels too. Like, it's not always a straight spoiler. It's always it can be a nudge in the right direction, which is fine. Like, if it's gonna really like open my eyes to something I'm missing.
Right, but I'm not telling Red Lionhead how to play the game. I'm like sitting here. I'm struggling too. I'm like,
your face.
How do you do? Wait, did you try this? And he did it. It's like, there we go. So we both figured it out at the same time. Yeah. And it's not like, I'm telling him, oh, to figure this puzzle out, you got to do this. No, and I try not to, again, because, part of the enjoyment of me watching some of the streamers is I like to see their struggle. I like to see them. True. I like to see their thought process.
I like to have that struggle. Like Factorio. Yeah. You ever played Factorio?
Nope.
It can be so complex to like figure out the tool, the machine you want to build, and how it's going to work, and how you can overcome a clog or a problem in your machine. And like, if someone just showed me how to do everything, that's
right. I just go onto Game FAQs and just follow that.
Right. And oh my gosh, we were talking about King's Quest earlier.
Yes.
Those games, if you just follow a color by numbers like FAQ, it's the worst. Like, but if you just approach the problems and try to think about them and see how to solve them, that's the whole point of the game.
Right, exactly. You talk about the old school point and click.
We're gonna do those, by the way.
Yeah, point and click RPGs and stuff like that. It's that was pretty much the first game that got me into gaming. It was King's Quest 6.
Same Quest for Glory.
King's Quest 6, Air Today, Gone Tomorrow, and I remember playing that game, booting it up from MS DOS, and then playing it, and me struggling as a kid. Then I went back as an adult, me struggling as an adult, really? And now I've played that game so many times that I know how to do it, but it's still enjoyable.
Yeah,
I feel
the same way.
There's still parts that I'm like, oh shit, am I supposed to get this first? Am I supposed to talk to this person first?
See,
but it's like I still go back and play those games. Yes, and I love those kind of strategy games where I have to think about it. That's why I also play a lot of horror, like the horror strategy games. Because
you bought me Layers of Fear. That game's sweet.
Yeah, Layers of Fear. Holy crap! Because again, that's one of the ones that's just like it's not really it. It is a game on rails where you're just like, okay, I know I need to go this way, but it's like I need to go this way, but now I need to figure out this.
Isn't every game on rails in a way though? Like if you if I said that there's like a meta that someone's gonna spoil for you, then you're not even really like
Thimbleweed Park. I'll have to check that out. I'll put that on the list of games I'll have to check out. But
we're definitely gonna do a lot of old games. I think that good design is timeless.
We don't talk about old games, point and click RPGs, because Red Lionhead will recommend Monkey Island.
I love Monkey Island. What's wrong with Monkey Island?
If you go to Red Lionhead's stream, it's all themed like
really
is Monkey Island.
So it's, like the same,
it's great. It's great. It's great.
Cool. Yeah, I remember being very confused by Monkey Island, but I definitely the theming is great.
Yeah.
I think Quest for Glory is my favorite of the 3 point and clicks you mentioned, just because it has RPG combat and stat progression, which is like really advanced for the time. But yeah, I just think good design is timeless. I think it's if you look at. You said I'm really story oriented, but a game is so much more than that, especially when they tie the gameplay mechanics to the story. You can't just look back and be like, that's a black and white movie, it's garbage. Like you have to understand that these stories are like, yeah, it might be hard to play now. The system might not be around anymore, but these are still experiences worth having. And like I was actually going to be a teacher for a while, and I was like, I will sneak in as much video game crap as I can, because these are things that will enrich people's lives if they just don't know it. And I'm so glad now that, like, you know, when we were kids, there was such a stigma about video games. Like, you're a nerd, you're a loser. And of course, that video game culture is now like the biggest industry on the planet. It's like billions and billions of dollars in esports and games, and even now increasingly into like pencil and paper games, Dungeons and Dragons. This was something that you hid if you did. It was a dark secret that you would only share with your most close friends. Right. And people are like striking up casual conversations about it at work, and I'm just like, this would never happen.
Right. No.
We were the frontline soldiers who were like loved this thing against all odds.
We were the lepers.
Yeah. Well, me personally, I also think it's important to teach kids that like you can love a thing without it consuming your entire life. Right. Like you can still be cool. Like you can. For me, it was like you can be a skateboarder who's still into the music scene and be a complete nerd loser. Like you don't have to be an incel. You don't have to like let this hobby consume you, like, all your time and all your effort. Like, yeah, it's so sad for me to see people just like give up on the dating scene and just become what is it, Daki Makura pillow? You know, the humping pillow.
The body pillow.
The body pillow. Thank you. Like. Recluse, it's like it's not necessary. It's not that hard. Like just put a little effort into your life.
But yeah, I'm trying to think about the games.
I'm definitely gonna go like relationship places too. I have a lot of good like relationship stories that I think might be obviously interesting and entertaining, but helpful.
I think we both do. So that'll be interesting. You know, I think that our better halves our better halves like, will learn.
I don't have my ring on. It's getting resized. Don't worry.
We'll put stuff out there. Just you know, it's again. It comes back to we just want to
be real.
Be real. We want to share things, and maybe somebody can relate to it, and you know, not just a good story, a good laugh or whatever.
Sure.
You know, talk about the flux capacitor, which you know we'll talk about that.
We'll get there. But I also have to warn people. Like, I'm a story repeater. I don't remember who I've told what stories to, so there's gonna be times when I like start to go down that road. Don't wait for me to get to the end and then tell me that you already told me. Just 10 or 20 warnings in the chat. Like, I'll get it. I'll stop. Like, I don't want to be that guy. That guy who's like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my head down and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, and that's gonna ruin me for the rest of the shame of repeating the story. It's like, I don't want to say anything anymore. All I'm gonna do is repeat myself.
Red Lionhead is saying that he's good at relationships. I know all the things not to do.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it goes with everything.
Mistakes
it goes from everything. It's everything in life. You've learned life experiences. Like, well, that didn't work out with that one. Let me not do that again.
Which is perfectly all right. Well, we both have an older brother, and I owe a great debt of gratitude to my older brother for messing up in every way that I couldn't possibly imagine before I had a chance to do it. Because being older, he hit puberty before me. He hit everything before me. So he was like, "Oh, that's how you get caught sneaking out? I'm gonna sneak out a different way." Oh, that's how you get caught. You know, I think the impression was that I was like the golden child, but really I just was
learned
getting away with things. Like, one of my favorite moves was sneaking in a late paper to a teacher's desk by just dropping it near their desk a couple days after it was due. And they would just find it and be like, "Oh, I guess he did turn it in."
Oh my god!
You couldn't reuse it on the same teacher multiple times, but I've used it a couple times, and it's a good one. And people don't think of these. See, I'm pretty good at thinking on my feet. Like, people don't think of these things that they seem so obvious when someone tells you, but these are life hacks that need to be shared. Yeah.
We're not promoting We're not promoting any kind of cheating, stealing, or anything.
No, I never cheated. I did get caught getting help with a friend on a paper once, and she scolded us both and made us rewrite it. And much love to her.
The worst thing, and again, it comes back to the advent of the internet, advent of technology, advent of handheld devices. I got caught cheating once with my Nintendo DS.
Interesting.
So in the old Nintendo DSs, they had the PictoChat.
Yeah, sure. Oh, clever.
So
modern challenges require modern
solutions. Yep. So me and a guy, we were giving each other answers on the test that we didn't know through the PictoChat.
I've never done anything that bad. Yeah. I thought I was the help child here.
And the teacher just saw it and just instantly. And talk about feeling guilty, because he was like the nicest teacher ever.
Same, Mrs. Jones. Much love, Mrs. Jones. We both rewrote that paper with our tail between our legs.
Yeah, and man, I felt so guilty because
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you actually care about that person's.
And he was just like he was like the one teacher that I really respected, that I really liked, and I was like.
Did you say the name? I didn't catch the name.
No, I can't remember. I'll have to go through my yearbook and,
God, I remember
try to remember.
Almost every teacher.
No, there's only a handful of teachers that I remember
because exactly
because they made a huge impression on me and my schooling. So, but yeah, it was just like he was a good teacher, and but the problem is that it was a history class, and I just
not good at history.
Again, I hated history.
For me, history is like I'll get the broad strokes of the how and the why. Don't ask me what year it happened.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna remember all those little numbers and stuff. I've always been very ADD, so like keeping my attention is very like a narrow.
Oh, so this is a good way for you. So then the topic will go here,
yeah, exactly.
Back,
exactly.
up.
Oh man, that's it in a nutshell. Yeah, totally. I already had a story that I was gonna tell that I forgot. Scanning. Okay, so one time in biology class, so we did the dissecting of the pig in the biology class, and the final. I don't know if I want to say this teacher's name. I did like this teacher.
Don't say teacher's name.
I did like this teacher, but I don't want him connecting this story with me after all these years.
Don't say teacher's name.
It's not a huge deal, but to him it was a huge deal. Anyways, the final was a path that you had to walk in the class, and these exhibits were set up with every different body part, and you just had to identify them. And if you had been there and done the work, you would easily know these things. And one of the things when I stopped to write my answer, I also drew a happy face on the pig's leg. Real simple, just 2 dots and a smile. And I was a rebellious kid, problem with authority and everything, but I wasn't like defiling.
You drew
I wasn't
a
like
smiley face on a cadaver pig.
I mean, is it really that big of a deal? It's we eat bacon, like, is it any different than a plate of bacon that you eat in the morning being in the shape of a smiley face? Is that desecrating a dead body? But,
yes. Yes.
So they're both equally awful, and I'm awful for them both. But I mean, it wasn't a big deal to me at the time. I thought it was maybe something a couple people would chuckle over and then move on. But he was like, "What sick bastard drew this?" So I was like,
oh, man.
it was so heated that I couldn't. Like, I'm always that guy who's like, I messed up, I'm gonna accept responsibility.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of stories about that as well. Not all my stories are victories. A lot of them are failures.
Oh, yeah.
But this was a situation where it was so heated that I couldn't even do that. I was like, I'm just gonna. And I'm sure he suspected it was me because I'm just that guy, that irreverent, class clown. But I just couldn't do it. Yeah, and he was a great teacher. We got along great for the rest of the year after that. But I was like, that was one moment that I was like, you do some things when you're a kid that you don't really understand the ramifications. I wouldn't think that anyone would think it was like a crime to do that, but.
All right. Yeah, so, just our toss, not just video games, music, stuff. Yeah. So just like
biology class,
relationships are
we've lived
life
a lot,
stories.
We're both
we've lived a lot.
Wild and crazy guys.
Make it sound like we're so old. But
no, but I wasn't getting there. I was just saying that we've both like gone for it in life, I think, in a lot of ways, socially and like comedically. Yeah. I've gone out on a lot of branches that broke. That's one of them. Do you know where I'm going? Do you know where I'm going with this story?
Table?
What?
The table?
No, that's different. That's way less than this. I'm talking about the Nikki story when we went to the party of another band who the lead singer was a female. Okay, so with this band in Orlando, Shut Up and Dance, they had pretty moderate success. They were a big deal. So we went to a party after a show or whatever to the band crowds hanging together, and we were playing drinking games, and everyone was getting along. And I've always had an irreverent sense of humor, so I just assume that people aren't going to get offended by the things I say because they know that I'm going places I'm not supposed to go.
Oh my God!
I remember this. For the comedic value of it.
Yes.
So, and European listeners would understand that the C word. Can we say it? Can I say it on Twitch? Like, I don't. Are we going to get in trouble?
I would have said it.
You wouldn't say it?
I would say it, but go,
okay,
but,
the C word.
Yeah.
So the C word, it's not a big deal in Europe. It's a big deal in America. It's especially a big deal in a group of people where socially a lot of them are women. A lot of so they view the word differently, obviously. And we were playing a drinking game. Again, I'm not a big drinker, but we did this. And our friend was punishing me by making me drink drinks in like Ring of Fire or something, and I was like,
yes, it was Ring of Fire.
Playfully was like, you C word, why would you make me do that? And everyone in the room,
God, it was
amazing. It was like a movie where everyone is like talking and then everyone stops.
Yeah, it was that old school, the record scratch. The bartender's like, polishing the mug, looks up.
Yeah, it's like 50 prairie dogs just went. Time because they all knew the people that I wasn't that familiar with would be a big deal with them, but I didn't know this, so I went out on this branch, and everybody was just like, "I can't believe you." To me, it's almost like saying your mom. Like, who would get offended by that? I'm obviously just doing it to be an edgelord. It's like, who cares? It's just a word. But apparently they didn't agree, and they had a very stern talk with me afterwards, and I was like, I didn't know that you all would be offended, but. It's worth the story, It was only like
I honestly suppressed that memory. Yeah. I don't think I suppressed it. I think I was just too drunk all the time at that moment.
That's fair.
And
it was an hour of like the hottest burning shame you can imagine. But it's not one of those stories that you like regret for the rest of your life and keeps you up at night. Like it was funny.
It was
I still enjoyed it. Like even as it was going on, it's almost like getting your hand caught in the cookie jar. You're like.
So Kate. Okay. I get what you're asking. No, it wasn't Walk the Moon. Not your client. We there was a local band here, called Shut Up and Dance. That was
way before the
and honestly, I thought that Walk the Moon when they came out that Shut Up and Dance song, I was like, wait, hold on, who's in the band? So I had to look it up. I'm like. Well, is Greg, Mike, Joey, any of them in the band?
No. It's a common phrase. There's been other
exactly.
That have, used it for things, but
yeah.
So that was fun. They were at our CD release party. Every interaction I've had with all of them individually has been great, but I just really stepped on my.
Yeah, I got
bit my tongue. What other phrases? Put my foot in my mouth.
I got a good story with from Shauna.
Oh, yeah, let's have it.
Well, no, not right now. It'll be in the relationships.
Like, tune in next time.
It's like da 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 da.
What song is not like copyrighted that you can be like, tune in next time?
I don't know, but yeah, no.
I don't know.
Yeah, Shauna.
I promise I won't overdo the kazoo, but I felt like it was.
Shauna filled me in on some information.
Oh, hit us up if you want a kazoo, also because I bought a sack of them.
You bought a sack of kazoo.
We'll sign our names on it. You can get in on the ground level, get that airtime, get those kazoos.
But yeah,
remind me of the story.
It'll be a story for us talking about relationships and stuff like that. Was Shut Up and Dance. I think that of all the bands that we hung out with, I think I hung out with them the most. Yeah. And Shauna, Joey, and then
Greg's great, Joey's great. I like both of them a lot. I don't really know nothing
Allison,
against the other. I just don't know them as much.
Allison too. She hung out with them. She actually just moved in close to here. Yeah. So maybe she'll want to come in and tell us some embarrassing stories about you and me.
I don't remember.
Probably more embarrassing stories about me since.
Yeah, I probably don't have any more stories with them. I didn't know them all that well. But yeah. So what was the story I was trying not to forget to tell? Crap.
These aren't kazoos; they're weed pipes, man.
Oh yeah, that's it.
These plastic things, I think that they would melt.
How funny would it be to like smoke weed out of a kazoo that would like make noise?
And then you get like.
They don't work that way.
You get all the plastic stuff, melting. Ugh.
Anyways, I haven't smoked weed in decades. I no interest. But anyways, so the kazoo reminded me of a story. Like if we were to sign these and mail them out to interested parties, that would be something that from here on ever would be the first thing, right? Like we know you're the legit fan because you have the first one. And when we were in the band, we had those shirts that Mike painted. Like he hand painted a batch of like 50
shirts
yeah. Where everyone was different. So if someone showed up at a show in that specific shirt, you were like, you've been on this ride for years. You know, we did it for 8 years, so it's like you're the guy.
Well, I got the tattoo of the dinosaur from that.
Yeah. You want to show it to the camera here?
How am I supposed to put my leg up on the
I don't remember which tattoos you have where, okay? I know
it's on my leg.
I tell people about your Batman tattoo. I tell people about your Zelda tattoos. I tell people about your chicken leg abomination. Other than those 3 tattoos,
what'd you call my
chicken leg abomination? You're like half.
That's covered by the DeLorean.
Do you have any pictures of it though? Still around?
I think I have like a couple pictures of me and Mike
where
my hands out and you could see it. But I got that covered.
That's a good story. Yeah, tattoo. That's what I'm terrified of. I want to get tattoos. I want people to.
That was another
share tattoo information with us.
Another segment that we were talking about tattoo shirts.
Tattoo Tuesday.
I'm covered in tattoos,
and I have none whatsoever.
So he has none, but he appreciates a good tattoo.
My wife has really good tattoos. Yeah. Like it's a community I've always been on the outskirts of in the music scene and in the video game scene.
So like I said, Soup Ball and just asked what kind of tramp stamps you boys got. So Dave unfortunately has a clean slate. I've
had more in the past. Some of them
I got Dave's face on my lower back that goes over my butt crack. No.
How funny would it be if we like hadn't talked to each other in years and you had a tattoo of me on your body?
But no tramp stamp, not yet. No. I haven't out been. I've gotten some bad tattoos. But I've not been drunk enough to get a tramp stamp, luckily.
Well, the guy who started that tattoo on you was really drunk, and it was really awesome.
He was really drunk, really high. But
it was another story for another day. Yeah, I won't steal your thunder there, Chief. But my wife has some really good tattoos.
Kay said she'd be uncomfortable if I had a tattoo of your face after we hadn't talked.
Like, you cannot do this show with him. You guys are being too much facts.
It would be great if I just got it just over my butt, but like it's like you peeking over like. Just like your eyes.
Don't forget about me.
It's like just your eyes peeking over, and then you just like pull it low, there's the rest of you.
So my wife has some really great tattoos. She has a wave, full sleeve. I don't know the terminology. It's more than a half sleeve, but less than a full sleeve. Yeah. It's enough that you can hide in a professional setting. And I know I'll butcher the pronunciation of this, but I'll give it a shot. She has a Vegsvisir, if I said that right, is a Viking protection tattoo. Yeah. And there's different versions. She got one that's supposed to be protection for travelers. Again, I don't believe in anything supernatural, but I appreciate the cultural significance, and it is a tattoo that I would get also. So yeah, I've always felt like I could get a tattoo and I have a great idea, and then 6 months later that band puts out an awful album or something, and I'm like, if I had every tattoo that I had a dumb idea of when I was really excited about it, I would have like Wolverine.
You'd be me.
No, worse. I would have Wolverine middle metal brackets on the back of my knuckles. I would have the barcode that
you would have a snick like.
Yeah, I wasn't even a comic fan. I just want. I don't know. You know what I mean. Things that you're enthusiastic about are not necessarily things you want on your body for the rest of your life. And some of the things that I would want on my body the rest of my life are really obscure references. So why would anyone want to see it or talk to me about it? So it's kind of like there's no point. It's a commitment, man. And I have no problem with pain. I have no problem with sitting still for a long time being tattooed. I just for some reason I just have never pulled the trigger on a tattoo.
It just I feel like tattoos like. Obviously, I've jumped on a lot of tattoos where I'm just like, I got this idea, and I was like, I want to get it. Yeah. But now it's just like, I'm pretty much very I put some thought into my tattoos now. I know I think I have like 2 tattoos that I want to get, but it's just like I'm still waiting. No, we'll wait. We'll wait.
I definitely want to get some like, I don't want somebody to suggest a stupid tattoo to me that's I'm obviously not going to get, but I'll put some ideas out there and I'll get some feedback,
Yeah.
A lot of retro stuff. I've been thinking a lot about retro games a lot. I don't know. We'll do modern stuff too. We'll save the classics. Like Skyrim's going to be a big episode. We have to go big. We have to pair a drink. We have to wear helmets. You only get to do Skyrim once, and it has to be, we'll hold it off until it's right.
Skyrim. I have like 3 copies of the game.
Do you have the
how many hours have I put into it? About half an hour.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of the combat, but I like the worlds. And it's like Game of Thrones. It's like there's so much history there. But I have a confession for you. I've never finished Bethesda game, any of them. Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim. I have hundreds of hours. Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4.
I think I did do Oblivion.
I get a point where there's nothing left for me that interests me, and I stop. Same thing with Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Demon Souls. Never finished one. Oh man, I like them, but at a certain point, I'm like, I get it. I don't need any more.
Yeah.
The itch that I have at any given moment is pretty random, so that's kind of another reason why I don't currently stream on Twitch, because it's like, who wants to watch me play Battle Brothers? You know, some really obscure turn-based medieval strategy game. Nobody cares about that.
I'm sure that, you know, that there's a community for that.
Yeah. And then this guy, Filthy Robot, he makes really good videos, but
it may not be, you know, a big thing you want.
That's why I'm here, because I want to do this more than I want to do that.
Yeah. That makes sense. But it's just like, you know, I play Diablo. You know, when there's not a new season coming out,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Yeah. When the new season starts, you see the Diablo just, and then, you know, as it progresses through the weeks, it goes down, and then all of a sudden, you know.
Kudos to Blizzard for like keeping that game relevant. Yeah. Like Diablo 2 was relevant for a long time, but it has nothing on Diablo 3 as far as like the community and I'm like a big rewards guy. I love the like seasonal rewards and rare stuff. Like that's the kind of stuff that draws me to.
Yeah, same.
An online game.
But trying to think what else there is to talk about.
Have we dug through the barrel?
Yeah,
my throat's getting really raw. I should have got water instead of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Coca-Cola, I know. Sponsored for Coca-Cola, sponsored for Jack and Coke. We'll just be drinking that every day.
Yeah, so I think that's a good place to end it. I'm trying to think like any other topics that we'll be covering. I don't know, because I'm into a whole bunch of things: comic books, action figures, music.
That's why it's episode 0.
Yeah,
I was really, you know, adamant on the idea that it will evolve, and we will take it as we go.
Yeah.
I want to make cat videos. I want to make arts and crafts.
You want to make arts and crafts? Yeah.
I'll recruit Robbie for a lot of those things because they'll be fun. That's what I'm here for, the funs.
for the funsies.
Fun silly willies.
But yeah, I think that we'll so like I said, we'll try to do this. We'll try to do the podcast thing once a week, and then try to release other videos as soon as we can.
Cool.
Definitely give SkunkDave a follow. He hopefully he'll start streaming. He just created a Twitch account for this. Hopefully he'll start streaming.
Yeah. No, I will. If I spend time doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys want to watch me play with me Hearthstone decks? That'd be great.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I'm so done with standard constructed play in Hearthstone. I just go in there for the memes and the dailies that I'm out.
That works. I mean, I play, I do Diablo once a week or something like that, but mostly it's me playing Rocksmith, playing music. So
that's fair. Do what you love.
Yeah. I think that's gonna do it for us for tonight. I don't know, kind of like what kind of sign off you want to do, because
I don't know. I thought of everything except that. Actually,
this is the first episode.
It's a burger. We're your beefy boys, extra cheesy. But I didn't think of how to say goodbye. But that's again episode 0. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
get some graphics made and whatnot. Some guy from Bangladesh on Fiverr will hook us up with something.
Exactly.
And then not understand my constructive criticism at all.
No,
I'll just be like, it's fine. It's good. I'll take it.
Right, just take it. Right. If anybody does want to do some art for us too, we know
a lot of artists. I definitely want to get them in. And we're gonna paint your walls.
Yeah, no, we have this entire wall right here that we could hang up posters. We could hang up, drawings, fan art. Who knows?
Oh, that'd be so nice. Like the people who send little drawings of our cute little faces and put those up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, this is SkunkDave and Robbie signing off.
Thanks everybody for hanging out.
Take care.
Have a good night. Oh man. I don't know if Kate ended the stream. We're gonna find out anyway.